Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back again with another live stream. This is an impromptu one. Just kind of a quiet day. Just thought I would go live and then go over a few, verses and just see if there's people around to chat. This is a bit of a filler because End Time Teacher and I were supposed to have a conversation recently, but things came up on his end. And so I just thought I would hop on. And, if he's free, I think he said that, he'll be available at some point. So, he's welcome to join because I've kind of been going hard on him recently and want to give him the ability to defend his position. But, people want to join or ask questions. I'm going to go through some stuff that I've prepared and then I'll just leave it open, for Q&A in the chat or if people want to join the panel, that kind of thing. But, I have a few verses that I want to go through, just to help people understand the Bible in the end times, because I think it's very clear that we're in it, and so a lot of things should actually become more and more clear about what we should expect, to happen in real life. It's absolutely amazing. Even the biggest government shill that's out there has to admit that something's going on. Okay. Without a doubt, something is up. Okay. And flat earthers, we know, what it is, but, and then the Bible is, I would say really for me, and I think a lot of people, our only hope to hope for something, positive to come out of this. And so that's the spirit of my channel, and then the few people that I care about who join here. Kirk Wilson, hey, what's up, man? Good to see you. End Times Teacher, I'll join about. Yeah, sounds good, man. I'll put the link. I'll put the link in a few minutes, but whenever you're ready, just let me know, and I'll put the link for you. If I don't know the person and they want to join, just maybe ask your question first, just so I know that you're a real person. End Times Teacher and Flat Earth Boxer who may join, I know them, and obviously any of the people that have joined in the past, like Jewish Questions or people like Mies Kang and Ali B, those kind of people, you don't have to ask. You can just you can join for sure. Even Chris Berry. So so I'm gonna go through Second Esdras, 9, 15, and 13, and so and then just talk about those, and then I wanted End Times Teacher on because that's going to be part of the thing that I want to talk to him about Revelation 11, because we've never actually spoken about it recently. And then I think he wants to talk a bit about preterism, because for some reason, this is very strange to me that now all of a sudden a lot of people are talking about preterism, which I think is very, very strange. I'm assuming this community has been there for a long time, but William Bell is somebody that ETT references, and then More Than a Flame, if that was him who was on with Good Servant today, was sounding like a preterist. And then somebody messaged me a while ago and I responded to it, talking about preterism. And The Plain Truth came on my channel years ago, very, very early. By the way, it's actually close to my almost exactly 4 years of YouTube for me, a little over 4 years, actually. And so that's just amazing to think about. But he came on one of my earlier streams years ago, and he left, very quickly, shortly thereafter, and unsubscribed and left, in a little tiff. And it would be worse now. That was 4 years ago. So he would have no interest, to talk to me now. But I didn't realize there was that many people, taking that seriously. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I would much rather be an atheist than a preterist, because then you're ignorant, then there's going to be less likelihood of judgment heaping over your head. But for the preterists out there, if you're trying to jam the entire Bible into human history, good luck to you, first and foremost. And then what you risk doing is taking away from the Bible. Okay. And then those people that take away from the words of this book, this is going to happen to them. So I would recommend people just don't say anything. Okay. If you don't know certain things, or ask questions, don't go on YouTube and say, oh, I figured this out. And then, just start trying to make up stuff, which is what was happening on Good Servants Hangout earlier. They didn't have a clue what they were talking about. They were saying that Christ is going to reign for 1,000 years, and then he's going to loose Satan, and then Satan's going to come and deceive and all that. How can Satan deceive when you've been in the presence for Christ for 1,000 years? Okay, like what's he going to deceive you on after that? And then that's another reason why channels like me and End Times Teacher, we harp on the fact that God is behind good and evil. Okay, because we know that now. And then if people are pushing that, we know that you're part of the evil. Okay, and then we make fun of you. But I wouldn't do that. Okay, that's really, really bad idea. Revelation 22:18, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book, if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And that's Revelation 16. And so if you are teaching that the mark of the beast is a microchip, and that doesn't happen, then that's your future. Okay, just know that. And if any man shall take away from the words of this book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. Okay. And so if you essentially don't even consider Revelation, which means that you don't consider the whole Bible, because Revelation repeats itself throughout the whole Bible, means that you're on God's left-hand side. You're essentially just slated for destruction. And then your righteousness does not exceed the scribes and the Pharisees. And so God shall take away his part of the book of life. Okay. And so those people are in trouble either way. And then I'm subject to those same things as well. If what I teach about the two witnesses did not come true, then I've added a prophecy to the book, or potentially remove one that, it actually is. And so I'm subject to this as well. Okay. And so that's why I highly recommend people don't type nonsense, don't leave your ignorance on my channel or anywhere unless you know exactly what you're teaching, because then God's going to look at the body of work, your YouTube channel, and all the things that you've said and say, when was that authorized? Okay. And so the God of this Bible is not just whatever. Just say whatever you want about me. No big deal. It's fine. Just, whatever you feel like today, just kind of make that up. I'll be okay with it. All that kind of stuff. Fair warning. Okay. All I can do is warn people. Don't do that. Okay. It's not going to be a good thing for you. It doesn't matter how long you've been teaching or what excuse you make or anything. God's bound to these words. Okay. He's not going to make an exception. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. That's fine for you. That's okay. He's bound. God's not a liar. Okay. And so all you people out there who are pushing the mark of the beast as a microchip, it better come true. Okay. You better hope to the Satan, basically, that's going to come true, or else that's your future. Okay. I say with confidence what it is, and second Esdras that I'm going to read is going to reaffirm that. Okay, we know exactly what it is, not just the numerology, but everything. Okay, we see it. I mean, it could not be more obvious. And if a person out there like End Time Teacher teaches Job 9:24 is not referring to the masks, which it obviously is, then you're removing a prophecy from the book. Okay, and then that means that you're ultimately on God's left-hand side. So I wish everybody luck. Okay. But, if people want to defend themselves, there's a link. Feel free to join. But all I can do is warn people. People come by my channel and say, oh, don't be so mean and all that kind of stuff. Don't be offended. Okay. We're not living in a time where you just go and be nice to people and all that kind of stuff, and we're not living in those days. Okay. So if you find this channel offensive or me offensive, then just go away. Okay. It's not for you. Okay. And I'm trying to make sure that the people that have an opinion and leave it on my channel, this small group that joins here, that you've thought about what you said, or else you're going to be subject to Revelation 22. And then I could have been involved. I could have warned you to shut up. Okay. And that kind of thing. And so that's why I'm doing that in that way. Okay. And if I'm teaching anything incorrectly, it would be the righteous thing for somebody to come and tell me, stop teaching that. Okay. I would need that, because I don't want that. Okay. Like, I don't want the plagues, or I don't want to be taken out of the book of life if I'm in it. And so it's the right thing to do. It's the quote brotherly thing to do. Okay. And all that kind of stuff. So you people out there are soft and wake up. Okay. We're not living in the days where these words are going to come true like 100 years from now. Okay. Or even 10 years from now. Okay. They're more likely to come true 10 days from now than 10 years from now. Okay. Just know that. And this meteor shower is wrapping up. So that's also relevant for the end times, if Christ is going to return this year. So because he says that, the stars will fall, prior to, his second coming. And we see all these things happening in the sky, and then we see what's happening in real life, and this narrative, and that kind of thing. And so don't get offended. Okay. This actually matters to me. I realize it doesn't matter to you, the people, a lot of people on this platform, because the YouTube's filled with government shills. Okay. And all they're allowed to do is talk in circles. I don't know. Maybe not. No, might be. I don't know. All that kind of stuff. Does anything about the God of the Bible say that he's authorizing that kind of language? We say exactly what it is. And then we say, God told us. Okay. And that kind of thing. So, I also know, just for people out there, I know why a lot of you people cannot accept the verses that are everywhere, the lesson that I did earlier, where God is behind good and evil. Okay. I know that, because when God brings the evil, you're going to side with the government. Okay. But the few people, the faithful that come by my channel, we understand that God is behind the mark of the beast. Okay. God is behind the ball earth deception. God is behind the slavery. Prophesied in Deuteronomy 28, God is behind all those things. Okay. And so we fear that entity. Okay. And we just ask for mercy because we don't want any more evil or deception. And so that's God's elect. Okay. And so I know very well why you people come by here and say, oh, no, we got to fight this. And oh, this is so weird and crazy and evil and all that kind of stuff. But I know that God's behind it. Okay. And so if you don't like that, then you're Antichrist. Okay. And I'll just wave you a goodbye. Okay. Bye. And I don't care if I'm polite to you or not, because after that, you don't matter. Okay. You're not even a real person. And then if you continue in that line of thinking, then all that's going to be your future, if you're here, is Revelation 16:2, which are sores, okay, on people who've taken the mark or people who worship the image of the beast. And so you cannot take away from this book, okay? And not only that, you have to read the Apocrypha and you get an even clearer understanding of what this God's all about. And that's what I'm going to do today. So for all you bird brains out there who just make up your own gospel, I wish you good luck, okay? Here's a virtual handshake, okay, from TMoG. Good luck and go away, okay? I will pretend like you do not even exist, and to me, you're mentally deranged, because these teachings of the Bible that I teach are absolutely clear, okay? There's no confusion, and that's what I love about being a quote-unquote teacher, quote-unquote prophet, candidate for the elect, is that the things that I'm teaching are so obvious. It's just, it's as obvious as the sun is in the sky right now here in Houston. So, so if you don't accept obvious teaching, then bye. have a nice day, and that kind of thing. And so we don't care. And that's going to be the spirit of this first verse that I read from 2 Esdras 9. We're told to not care about those people. Okay. So it's biblical. Okay. 2 Esdras 9, more about the signs of the end. Okay. This is why it's very important to get into the Apocrypha as well. He answered me and said, measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that some of the predicted signs have occurred, listen to this, some of the predicted signs, we see that clearly right now, then you will know that it is a very time when the Most High is about to visit the world that he has made. Could not be more obvious that the Most High is about to send his son to return to this earth. It could not be more obvious, okay? Unless literally God spelled it out in the sky, okay? So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, okay, tumult of peoples, intrigues of nations, wavering of leaders, confusion of princes, then you will know that it was of these that the Most High spoke from the days that were of old, okay, from the beginning. For just as with everything that has occurred in the world, the beginning is evident. So anything that can happen, it had to have a beginning, okay? And so just know that. And the end manifests, so also are the times of the Most High. The beginnings are manifest in wonders and mighty works, and the end in penalties and in signs, okay? And so this is the verse that I wanted to read. That's very, very important. I'll let End Time Teacher come on, but just let me finish this point. It shall be that it shall be that all who will be saved and will be able to escape on account of their works, listen to this, or on account of the faith by which they have believed, okay, will survive the dangers that have been predicted, and will see my salvation in my land and within my borders, which I have sanctified for myself from the beginning. This is God's elect who have a foreknowledge of God, okay? Then those who have now abused my ways shall be amazed, okay? And those who have rejected them with contempt shall live in torments, okay? For as many as did not acknowledge me in their lifetime, though they received my benefits, and as many as scorned my law, listen to this, my law, okay? While they still had freedom and did not understand, but despised it, okay? And if you offend one aspect of that law, you offend all of it, okay? According to the book of James, there's no wiggling around that. Listen to this. Though they received my benefits, it is many as scorned my law while they still had freedom and did not understand, but despised it while an opportunity of repentance was still open to them. Okay. These must in torment acknowledge it after death. Listen to this. Therefore, do not continue to be curious about how the ungodly will be punished. Okay. But inquire how the righteous will be saved. Okay. Those to whom the age belongs and for whose sake the age was made. Okay. And so at this point now, if you ain't with it, bye. Okay. We don't care. Okay. Whatever happens to you, good or bad, it doesn't matter. Okay. And we're getting instruction from that right from Second Esdras. And so, and Esdras is somebody that is very, very close to God. And I'll show that here because he's been given a lot of secrets. And so that's the spirit of this lesson in my channel, certainly going forward. Okay. So all you people out there, don't be soft and all that kind of stuff. These are very serious times we're living in. End Times Teacher has joined. What's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm surviving. How you doing?
Good. Dude, a bit of an impromptu stream, just kind of a quiet day. You can chime in whenever you want. I'm going to be discussing various things. So
yeah,
unless you have something you want to share.
Yeah. Did you watch that show today that Good Servant did with what's that guy? More Than a Flame? I was watching it. I tried to join him live, but he didn't let me on. And Tony was it. Hey, the guy I'm not going to talk about because he asked me not to say his name, but he was there too. He was trying to get on too, so I was going back and forth like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" Just joking around with him. But anyway, did you see that discussion between the two there? What was your thoughts on that?
I don't think I watched the entire thing, but did you at least get in the back chat, or how far did you get to get on his show? I
got into the back chat.
Okay, got it. I mean, I think it's ridiculous in the times that we live in now that people. I think that's why I'm interested to talk to you about Revelation 11 and stuff, but it's not that complicated, in the times that we live in now, because so much of it's happening. Like I read in Second Esdras, we're already seeing a lot of it happen. So to fill in the rest shouldn't be that hard. So for somebody to do that kind of speculation, and I'm glad that he admitted at least that it was speculation. I didn't realize that was More Than a Flame on that, but because Good Servant's like, what do you have to prove that? And he's like, oh, this is just speculation. I was like, okay, well, at least he's being honest. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, preterism to me is so weak at this point.
Well, I'll say this. I'm gonna bring the brother on a show with me. He wanted to do a show. He was gonna join on the other day when I was doing it, but I was ending the stream just when he said that. So I told him next time to join me on there because I think that would make an interesting conversation. He brought up some points such as, I'll give an example because you didn't watch the whole thing, so I was watching it, and there's a lot of questions that we'd like to ask because I think it'd be a very entertaining conversation. One point he brought up, which I would say this could fool an average person, is they brought up that, well, one proof that the waters were made bitter is because, well, you can't drink seawater. See, so that proves
that wormwood.
Yeah. As I said, he made a couple of statements that I do want to talk with him on, so I'm hoping to bring him on to a show. Yeah. So we can discuss it because he said, and this is what he said. He said that the two witnesses, they already came, 1,000 years ago. The MOB already been fulfilled. Wait a second though. If he's saying going by the chapters, everything before that been fulfilled. So wait, he also must believe by logical deduction that the plagues, right, the 7 last plagues been fulfilled, and Babylon has been taken down. He has to believe that then, if everything before the 20th chapter has been fulfilled. So that's going to open up a whole nother can of worms to talk about there. What do you have to say to that?
That's a lot that he's squeezing in history, man. Like the fact that he would even read those things and try and jam that. A lot of people who are preterists just tend to go to those verses that he also quoted, this generation shall not pass. All eyes will see him, even those who pierced him. You will not reach all the, the towns in Jerusalem and all that and stuff. And, for us, you and I, we know that that's reincarnation. That's a very simple answer. But if he started going into all that other stuff, then that's really weird to me. So
yeah, I got something I want to read real quick. I wanted to put this on when he said that. Let me just pull it up real quick. I'm trying to do it with one hand. I just wanted to read this, right, going over the whole reincarnation thing.
Yeah.
Because he said, well, how are they going to see him if they're not alive? It's like, okay, well, let me read this real quick. This is the book of Job, chapter 19 and verse 25. It says,
Mhm.
For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see Yahweh, whom I shall see for myself, and mine own eyes shall behold, and not another,
Ooh.
though my reins be consumed within me. Right. So he is going to be brought back in reincarnation. And if that's not enough proof, I do have to throw this other one at him, and then you
Yeah.
can chime in. I just want to say this real quick. I would ask him this question. It's like, okay, so the Apostle John, right? He died on the island of Patmos, right? Because that's where he was
Yeah.
forbidden to, where he wrote the prophecies down. It's like, okay, so he would agree he died there. But take a look at this. This is Revelation chapter 10. Let's start at verse 9. It says, And I went unto the angel, and he said unto me, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up. And it was in my mouth as sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Now listen here. And he
Mhm.
said unto me, Thou must again, or Slaki, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. So how did John fulfill that if he died on the island of Patmos? And the answer is because he had to come back for reincarnation. Well, what are your thoughts on those?
100%. Yeah, those are beautiful, man. Without a doubt, he's here potentially on this earth, unless he's a fulfillment of Revelation 14:6, where he's one of the angels, because these we know that the elect are angels. That's possible too. He could be in the so-called UFO, but there's also very likely that even Esdras that I'm reading right now is somewhere on this earth right now. So is Daniel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. So those two verses are perfect. Absolutely correct. That's impossible. And then that verse only makes sense if it's in the last days where the gospel is going to be preached worldwide. Okay. And I don't think anybody in their right mind would believe that that's happened already.
Right.
So
Even Ezra, right, when you read what is that? I believe that's second Ezra 16th chapter. He said, what? He said, Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Which what were the days that he was talking about? He was talking about the time when all these things would be fulfilled. So to answer his scriptures that
yeah,
he brought up, talking about, well, Christ told the people that you're going to be alive to see this. And I agree, they will be alive, but they're going to be back today in reincarnation. And if that's not the case, well, what about going back to the verse I brought up in Job, which mighty God can get it again if he wants to. That was Job, what was that? Job 19, start at verse 25 on down, right? He said, what? That I with my own eyes, even though I will die in this flesh, I will see the Most High with my own eyes. Now, how the hell is that going to happen?
yeah,
Unless it's talking about reincarnation. So you see, there was a lot of things that he was saying on there, which I
yeah.
think that he was, he's coming with that Christian narrative, such as, oh, well, when Christ is ruling, there's not going to be any more, children being born, right?
Yeah.
And no food and whatever. And I was just reading what is it? Mark the 14th chapter, right? When Yahushua or Christ was having the Passover with the apostles, and he told them what? That in the kingdom I'll drink this fruit of the vine new with you in my father's kingdom. So that proves that in the kingdom you're going to be eating and drinking, right? So that pretty much goes against what he was saying. And also, I see we're joined here by our friend Flat Earth Boxer. So
Yeah, dude,
hey,
chill out, man. We'll
real
be
quick,
fine.
Flat Earth Boxer. I do apologize about last time. I was in the wrong for that. I apologize. I'll be more may I say respectable this time. So before you jump on, I apologize for last time. Anyway, I throw back the mic again.
Yeah, I'll read Job 19, 25.
Apology accepted.
Yeah. What's up, FEB? For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see God. Wow. So spirits have eyes, according to like Russian Vids' mod, by the way. She literally trying to convince me of that. That they have teeth and eyes and all that kind of stuff. Really? Come on. Weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's here on earth, people. Wake up. Verse 27, whom I shall see for myself, and listen to this, mine eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. How's that possible? That's absolutely perfect. 1925, you add that together, that's 44. For I know that my Redeemer liveth. I'll give you another one, ETT. This one's good. Daniel 12:13, but go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of days. How is that possible?
That's
Okay.
yeah. That's a good one. Oh, also, mind guy, we have a question coming in from the chat there. If you want to put that on the screen,
Oh,
it's
okay. Yeah. Right.
you
Let's see.
see that there?
Yeah, Tim, man, good to see you, man. Don't for Tim, just so you know, man, my personality is a little abrasive, so I apologize if it's like that. But if you're sincere, man, welcome. Let's see what he's writing here. How do we know that the image of the beast is not our cell phones, tablets, and other devices with screens? These devices are literally made out of materials accumulated via war. So here's the deal with the quote unquote image of the beast, right? They're actually to some extent, many ways you can think about that, because the beast is this, the way it's described in Revelation 13, okay? It's essentially America. Let me read it. Essentially America being propped up by these other nations, okay? And you can get into a debate with people about what those nations are, and I don't want to do that here, but I think certainly me, okay, I understand that that's America, okay, with these two horns, quote unquote horns. And then you can view that as the two political structures or however you want to view it. But okay, that beast then has now influenced the entire world, okay? It's this wine, okay, these philosophies, rainbows, all that kind of stuff, okay? And so it's fundamentally anything that beast uses to trick people into taking the mark of the beast. And so do they use your phones and all that? Of course, you know, and then do they use your even hunger? Because a lot of people are hungry. Houston's offering $100 right now to go and take it. And so they're going to use every single way that they can, okay? They're going to do it through your job. They're going to do it through potentially your phone. They're going to find out things about you. There's been many times where I've said some words and then the next day I see like ads for that kind of stuff, you know, like, oh, like, you know, whatever, like golf stuff or something. Okay. And it's like, your phone's listening to you. Okay. And I have this like Google, whatever the hell this thing is, this Echo or something. Nest, sorry. And it's listening to me too. Sometimes I actually tell it, are you listening to me? And then she's like, no, I don't listen to you and all that kind of stuff. So of course they are. So listen to this. That beast, okay? Listen to this. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? You have to understand that's an arrogant mindset, okay? Because you have to understand in the last days, and ETT understands this, and I'm going to read this actually today, is that this beast is going to actually fight against God. And so the people on earth are going to say, no, we're invincible, okay? No one's going to beat us, okay? So it's that mindset, okay? And so does your phone and all those kind of things to some extent play into that? Yeah, of course, because people think, oh, I got my phone, I'll be fine. You know, I got whatever, you know, food stamps or whatever the government gives, I'll be okay, okay? But
I got something for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just to back up what you were saying, this goes along with it. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 8. It says, and that beast that thou sawest was and is not, shall send out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth, they shall wonder, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, exactly. And then so that's symbolic of the power structures that have existed in the past. And then this is also related to reincarnation, you know, which ETT and I understand, right? It's not hard for us when we read that. We don't struggle with that because God has told us those things. And so all those leaders in the past, all those empires, they're back here on this earth right now. Okay. They don't get away with all that wickedness, making like all the people bow to the statues and all that kind of stuff in Daniel's time. What, God's gonna be like, nah, no worries. Okay. You're okay with that. They're back here. Okay. And guess what? They're going to ask you to do the same thing, which is modern day technology. And so, yeah, are they going to use phones and all that? Of course. Okay. They're going to use whatever they can. Okay. Is there going to be an actual statue that you're going to go and worship or something? No, that's ridiculous. Okay. If anybody actually believes that and is waiting for that, you're going to be waiting a long time. You're going to be waiting forever because that's not going to happen. So all those power structures that are in Revelation 13, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his 10 horns crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Okay. And then as I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast. Okay. And so this shows us again that a majority of this earth is Antichrist. Okay. And so there's no one Antichrist. Okay. Like that's ridiculous if you believe that at this point. And so it's a majority of the world. And so whatever your point was, the image of the beast is not cell phone. Okay. That's ridiculous. If you actually believe that, that's an insane question to ask actually.
The word
And what are we to make of electricity? Why do I feel we have so much more to learn about electricity? Is it not Antichrist gate, Tim? So that's stupid. Okay, do not even want to respond to that. That's insane. And you actually wrote on my comment board that you believe you're one of the elect, and you're saying that. That's nonsense. Okay, so we got to get back to real topics, because that's absolutely stupid. And I hope that offends you for you to say something like that. That's ridiculous in the times that we live in now. Second Esdras 15. This is what I wanted to ask End Times Teacher about. We're going to kind of just start a dialogue related to the sequence, because him and I have a side debate. We're frenemies. Okay. He's the BIG. I'm challenging Biggie. He believes tribulation and great tribulation are the same thing. Here's what I would also prove here in one of the many places. 2 Esdras 15. Speak in the ears of my people the words of the prophecy that I will put in your mouth, says the Lord, and cause them to be written on paper, for they are trustworthy and true. And that's what we're reading. Okay. The God of the Bible makes an outlandish claim that everything that he says, he's going to fulfill it. Okay. And so we can expect these words to come true. Do not fear the plots against you. And why do I not fear the plots against me? Because I know that God is control of the left and the right-hand side. Okay. Anything that happens to me or anybody on this earth, God did that to you. Okay. That doesn't mean that it's easy to understand, but know that. We know that now. And if you don't know that, then go away. And do not be troubled by the unbelief of those who oppose you, because God makes the unbelievers. Okay. For all unbelievers shall die in their unbelief. Okay. So if you don't believe these words, we don't care. Okay, bye. I don't care. We're way late in the game to start arguing with people. And so if you don't get it, then go away. Okay. But here's the parts that I wanted to get End Times Teacher's opinion on. So that's a setup of what's going on. Beware, says the Lord, I am bringing evils upon the world. Oh, wait, who's doing that? Oh, I thought it was Satan. I thought it was the Freemasons. Okay.
It goes by the name. Are you back now?
Beware, says the Lord, I am bringing evils upon the world. Okay, the Lord is the sword and famine and death and destruction, because iniquity has spread throughout every land. The evil has gone throughout the entire earth, and this is the time that God has to come. And their harmful doings have reached their limit. Okay, so there's a stop. Okay, therefore, says the Lord, I will be silent no longer concerning their ungodly acts that they impiously commit. Neither will I tolerate their wicked practices. Innocent and righteous blood cries out to me, and the souls of the righteous cry out continually. Okay. So if you morons don't like that I'm complaining all the time, then get the hell away from my channel. Okay. This is what the Bible says, and I'm just joining that cry. That's the elect. If I'm not of the elect, I'm adding to that. Okay. And if you don't want to add to it, go away. Okay. I don't care. I will surely avenge them, says the Lord, and will receive to myself all the innocent blood from among them. God is a God of balance. Okay. He's not going to let all these people get away with this nonsense. Okay. Listen to this. See, my people are being led like a flock to the slaughter. I will not allow them to live any longer in the land of Egypt. And that's modern day America. Okay. No matter what ITR says, we're a bunch of bird brains. But I will bring them out with a mighty hand and with an uplifted arm, and will strike Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all of its land. Yep. That in modern day is America. Listen to this. And those plagues are listed in Revelation 16 and Revelation 18:8. Okay. And it says it's going to destroy all the land. When has that happened? Okay. Is even Egypt over there destroyed? Okay, so this is obviously happening in the future. So just know that, okay? And so just the thing that I keep harping on for people is the sequence of the end times, okay? See, my people are being led like a flock to the slaughter. I will not allow them to live any longer in the land of Egypt, but I'll bring them out with a mighty hand. That's salvation, first and foremost, okay? So you always, when I put those videos, I have like 150 of them. You always have salvation first. And guess what happens after that? Plagues. Okay, which is the wrath of God, which God's elect are not subject unto. And I'm telling people, if I'm one of them, this is going to happen this year. So buckle up. Okay, this is not a joke anymore. But I will bring them out with a mighty hand and with an uplifted arm. Okay, that's salvation. And I will strike Egypt with plagues. And then if you want to read those, that's Revelation 16 and Revelation 18:8. As before, and we'll just, why did I say as before? What does that mean? Because he's done it before. Okay. And he's going to use the same two people. Okay, understand that. Moses and Elijah. And will destroy all its land. Okay, so here's the part that I wanted to get to. Here's the money with End Times Teacher. Verse 19. People shall no pity for their neighbors, but shall make an assault upon their houses with their sword and plunder their goods because of hunger for bread. And listen, it's because of great tribulation. But the elect have already been taken away. Okay. And so the time of great tribulation is the time of the wrath of God with the plagues. Okay. The elect are saved out of tribulation. This is in the Apocrypha. And so the Apocrypha supports the sequence of the end times, which is consistent with Matthew 24, which is consistent with Revelation, and is consistent with Acts 1:10-11. So I guess for End Times Teacher, where are you getting this understanding that tribulation and great tribulation are the same thing?
Well, let's see. When you read the scriptures that speak about tribulation, or the other ones that mention great tribulation, my understanding on that is it just offers, speaking about, say for an example, going to go to Daniel the 12th chapter, speaks about a time of trouble like never before, right?
Mhm.
So it just offers, they're giving their own wording to this time of trouble. One might call it a time of trouble like never before, right?
Yeah.
Jacob's trouble. So one might call it tribulation. Another one might call it great tribulation. So my field of knowledge is it's talking about the same exact time period. All right.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying. Okay. I can see why you might say it's a difference, but from my reading of it, I can't see that.
Okay.
And we can
Check this
discuss
out.
that. But one thing,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
Yeah, yeah. We can talk about this for a few minutes, but after we address this, I did want to bring up, because I know you made a mention to me in our other talk that our friend on here, a flat earth boxer, you said he doesn't subscribe to the nuclear missiles
Yeah. Let's
in the
talk about that.
scriptures. So
Yeah.
yeah, we should sideway on to that, because that'll be a very interesting talk, because we know there's like, what is that, good 20 verses
Yeah.
that speak about those weapons. So
Yeah.
we should definitely
And
speak
flat Earth
about that
boxer.
when we finish.
Yeah, I would say in general, man, this is not to put you on the spot. We're all friendly here today, but I'd also, because I don't know that much about you, is like maybe you can tell our audience a bit about your other beliefs, not just to put you on the spot on that. I view you as sincere. The things that I say to people, it's not personal per se. It's somebody who's aggressively pursuing the truth, but we all want the truth. So I'll give you the mic, and I would love to talk about that because we haven't spoken on that in a while. And I know not just you, but other people have that as a hang up. So I'll pass the mic to you in a second. I just want to read this, what End Time Teacher was saying. Verse 16, for there shall be unrest among the people, growing strong against one another. They shall and might have no respect for the king or the chief or their leaders. Okay. And so if you read 2nd Ezra 15, okay, these things are in order is what I'm trying to get people to understand. Okay. And so End Time Teacher, just on your own time, maybe come and go and check that out. But Matthew 24 is encoded. Okay. And so there is language in there where Christ or Yahushua says that there is tribulation that the world has never seen. And that's absolutely correct. But he also says later, this is why the Bible is encoded. He also says that his return is going to be a time where everybody is eating and drinking and giving unto marriage. Okay. So Matthew 24 is encoded. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but you have to understand the rest of the Bible to be able to go to Matthew 24 and understand the sequence. Okay. And so just know that. But here it's very, very plain. Okay. Great tribulation is described as a time of plagues, which is correct. And the plagues are the wrath of God, which is in Revelation 16. And so it describes here salvation for an elect group, and then the plagues, which is great tribulation and all this calamity, all this stuff that we pretty much see. This stuff could start like in a day's notice. They just have to crash the markets, have a lockdown, and then it's over. Okay, that's how sensitive this is. Much less Christ appearing in the sky with the so-called UFOs. Okay, and then the plagues. So
hey, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
To Mind of God?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, real quick. I just wanted to point this out real quick, right? Because Mind of God's on here, saying that they're,
Thank God. Okay, hello.
Yeah, ETT, that cut out, man. But what was your question?
Don't stop it. Don't stop it. Just let it flow.
And there shall be, listen here, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as was never since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So can I say this is a third time of trouble because it does not?
What verse?
Tribulation.
I'll read it. It's kind of cutting in.
It's Daniel. Okay, Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1.
Okay. I think we got most of it, but just so you know, cutting out a bit.
Yeah, go ahead and read that. But the reason I'm bringing that up is to say it says a time of great trouble, right? So it doesn't say tribulation, doesn't say great tribulation. So can I also then say that it's a third time of trouble because it doesn't use the word in there?
Yeah.
You see what the point I'm getting at?
Dude, are you trying to be like polite now with your wordplay, man? No, dude, that's trouble and tribulation. It's all the same. I just protect the term great tribulation because it's used in 2nd Ezra and it's used right from Christ's mouth. And so
right, but
yeah.
But my point is in this text, it doesn't say tribulation or great tribulation. So would you equate this to one of those? Or could I say this is a separate event because it doesn't
trouble.
use that word?
It's tribulation. Yeah, there'll be a time of tribulation. I bet you if we read this in another passage or another, it may even use that word. Who knows? But yeah, I would say the elect are going to be saved out of tribulation. Okay. Because they're not stupid enough to go through great tribulation. Okay. And I don't care if people are offended by that. We don't want to be here now. Okay. Because why? We know we're in hell. Okay. And then they're wearing us wear a mask and all that other stuff. So if you read the Revelation 16 to any of God's elect, they'll be like, I wouldn't even be there for a day. Like, they're like, what are you talking about? Sores, freaking power outages, the sun being scorching them and all. What normal people don't want to be a part of that. The only people that are going to hang around during that time are the people that do not give God credit for that. And that's what it says in Revelation 16. And then the mixed multitude. Okay. They have to see it. They have to see it to believe it. They don't believe that God is behind all the evil. So God's going to prove it to them. Okay. It's not funny, but like, that's the only people. Okay. God's elect don't want to be here during peaceful times. Okay. Why? What's there to do here? Okay. And so just know that that's the mindset of that group. But I'll read what end time teacher is saying. At that time shall arise Michael, the great prince who has charge of your people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never been since there was a nation till that time. But at that time your people shall be delivered, everyone whose name shall be found written in the book of life. This also proves that it's predetermined. There's nothing I can do to get in that or get out of it. Anybody in this thing, don't come by here and be discouraged by what I say. These are just words. If you're written in that book, then you're going to be delivered. There's nothing you can do to change it. Even if you lose all your money today and you're broke, then it's going to happen that day then. Okay. If any one of those people that are written in that book lose their money and then just don't have anything, then they're all going to get delivered. Okay. It's not like God, I'll do this in tears. Okay. I'll do it in swaths. Okay. No, they all will get delivered. Okay. That's why this event can happen any day. Okay. Because even like people in the quote unquote middle class, they have no clarity about their future. So the Bible says in Jeremiah 31:8, some of the people that are going to be saved are blind and lame. They can't see. You know how scared we are right now. We can see. What about the people who can't see, like where they're going and all that kind of stuff? Who's helping now? Okay. And that kind of thing. So this can happen any day. But yeah, that's a good point. Trouble and tribulation. Same thing. FEB, what's up, man? So welcome, and it's all peace today, my friend. What's up?
Okay, so as regards nukes and atomic weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it's the case that I don't think any weapons exist that have the capacity to do the sufficient amount of destruction required for the fulfillment of the prophecy in Jeremiah, because obviously, I mean, the prophet Jeremiah is speaking the word of God. It's just that the evidence that exists to attest to nuclear weapons in the sense that we're meant to believe in them is all fraudulent. And so, I mean, that's all I can really say about it.
Okay, but America being like, first of all, do you believe America's Mystery Babylon? I guess.
I believe it's Sodom and Egypt at the very least. And would it be Mystery Babylon? I mean, okay. What else would it be? What else could be Mystery Babylon? I've heard it Jerusalem. Yeah. But that doesn't really square up. Sorry, my computer's making noise.
No, that's fine.
This is like, I mean, of course, I mean, someone could say Jerusalem. I get what they're saying, but Jerusalem is not an importer.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it is to some extent. Like they do have like their curios and all that stuff. But America is the.
I think the only other option is China. There's that.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. So America.
Well, okay, so let's just go with that, just as a theoretical thing. I know you and we can't prove that they exist because ETT and I haven't seen them. We haven't developed them, unless ETT has a side job, on the side making them. I don't know. Maybe he's involved in the technology, but we can't prove that. So how would America then be destroyed, or do you believe that?
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is that I believe there are weapons that have the capability of delivering that amount of destruction. It's just that the things which are called nuclear weapons, for which the evidence that they exist is these like government videos, which are clearly Hollywood. Yeah. I can't say that I believe in it on that account.
Okay, good. I would agree with that too. Like, I don't believe what we're shown is what's going to be used or anything like that. Like, that's just more that they're doing something kind of thing. So yeah, okay, fair enough. And then we don't need to know, quote, what the technology is or the chemical compounds, but like I'm about to read here, it's going to like melt the elements. That's how powerful it has to be. And there's many verses that we could bring out. So whatever that is, if we agree that it's very hot, okay, and it can be flung from the sky, then that's fine. I have no issues with that. But that's okay. So then maybe if that's what you already believed, I apologize because I didn't know that. But that to me is part of the package, so to speak. Because this destruction is not going to come only from God; it's going to come from the other nations. So, yeah, there has to be some earthly technology that has been developed to do that, or else I don't know how to understand this verse that I'm about to
belong to Persia, right? It doesn't say. Yeah. Anyway, so as regards the image of the beast, the guy made an interesting. Well, I think his question was interesting, and I think your response was interesting too. And I think I brought this up before, but I didn't read this paragraph. So this is again from this book called "The Two Babylons," and it's about how pagan culture became de facto Catholic culture, which is spilled into this de facto Western culture, and talks about how Saturn or Kronos is the word corona. The word corona comes from the word cornus, and cornus is a horn. It comes from the Hebrew word keren or Quran, depending on your dialect.
Yeah.
And, Quran. Okay, that word means horn. And a horn in Greek becomes kornos, and Kronos is Cornus, the horned one, the horned deity, the devil, Baal, Lucifer, all that. Yeah. And so you have the crown virus, the crown stuff that you get in your nose, called this word here, where I missed it, right here. And this image of it, no one's ever seen this particular particle, which allegedly causes this illness, but it has spikes on it, like horns, the spike protein. And then you inject the spikes into your body. And this thing that no one has seen, everyone feels as if they've seen it because they've seen this image. They've seen this image here, I think. There you go.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And they worship it, and it's in their mind, and people get dictates for it. Oh, this is what we have to do. We need to cover up. We need to lock down. We need to do this. We need to do that, and do all never do for the God of the Bible. I see women walking around in leggings, showing off every component of their genital anatomy to children in marketplaces, but they'll cover their mask, they'll cover their face at the same time, but they wouldn't cover their genitals. You see, they'll do this for God Corona, but they wouldn't do it for God above.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think I know enough about your channel to know that we know that's Job 9:24 for people to understand. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
It's so crazy. It's just like if you literally just type in the word for Mark, like there's no other way. It's the
So FEB, what you and I need to do is convince ETT that it is, because he's still on the fence, man. So ETT, why are you not getting with the program, dude?
Here's the thing with ETT, and really most people, and I've not just you, ETT, but literally everybody. Like, it's gotten to the point for me where it's like, I find that to the extent that anyone is not convinced by the obvious reality at this point, it is again not because it's like, if I can show you this and you go, yeah, no, it's just a precursor, then why would I want to burden the kingdom of heaven with you there? Like, why would I want to bring you like people who can look at that and go, yeah, that literally says Mark, but no, it's not that. It's just the 666.
Can I respond?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Sorry, my bad. I wasn't sure if you
my response to that is, as I said, in due time, we will find out, and it could be. But one interesting thing that should be mentioned is recently they were speaking on the news about they're coming up with a chip, right, that goes inside of you that can detect this thing, right? So I would say, oh, we'll see. Well, it certainly could be that, but you see, we're at the point right now where we just got to go day by day now. It could be what you're saying, but it could be that chip because they're developing one that can detect this thing. So we're going to have to see what happens here. It could be either or at this point, but we're going to find out very soon, right? So I'm with what you're saying, but at the same time, that chip could have something to do with it because they are developing that, and you can look into this on your own and see, where the Pentagon's developing something to detect this inside of people, right? So in your free time, look into that, right? So, to answer the question, you could be right, but we're going to find out, in the time to come. And same thing when you deal with the two witnesses. Could Mind of God be correct with that? He could be. I could be wrong, and he could be correct. But we're going to find out when that happens, right? I mean, hell, if two men are brought down here, then I will have to admit, okay, well, you know what? I went off, and I'm going to have to go follow these guys then.
Yeah,
And
fair
I'll
enough.
humbly admit that.
That's
I'll
good.
humbly admit that.
That's
Point
why
of
I like.
consideration.
That's why I think you're less likely to do that stuff that the other people would do. I think you will. Again, it sounds outlandish because I don't want people to think that I've had a dream or anything like I know what that would look like, because that's not anything I'm familiar with. But and I'm the same. If I'm not taken away, I'm going to go and ask them questions. And then we're gonna be able to find out quick. Like whether they're from the Most High or not. Do they like Zinger's cake treats? Okay, question number one. No, I'm just kidding. But we know, we can find out very, very quickly. But so what's funny, ETT, man, our friend Deacon, right, starts off his hangout a couple times ago. He's like, hey, what do you guys think it is? And then he polls the chat. Okay, so this is supposed to be like the Deacon, right? The Deacon Sakari. Like, what kind of way to start off a lesson is that? Oh, let me see what the chat thinks. Okay. Really? Come on, dude. Like that's not leadership. But
second of all, it shows you those are worldly guys. You know why? Because if you go on their channel, I mean, how the hell do you have 30,000 subscribers on your one page? That shows you that you got to be saying something that's convincing the masses of people to follow you, right? Because we know, according to the real truth, this is not going to be something that people are not going to want to get along with, right? People aren't going to want to join a group that says America is going to be destroyed. People don't want to hear that, right? So, exactly. Even though some of these guys give out good truth, and I'll give an example, and I believe, let me see, Mind of God, I think you might have some background noise coming through.
I just muted it. I just muted it. FEB.
Okay,
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, it's good now. But yeah, say for an example, our friend, what's his name? RV Truth, right? He has a lot of good stuff on his page, but he's saying some things that a lot of people do like, and there's certain things he can't go into because certain people will go away from that. And another thing as well, which I found funny, going back to what happened this morning with Good Servant and our friend More Than a Flame, he brought up a statement and said in the video, which I want to talk to him about this, he said, well, the 12 tribes of Israel, they're all done away with today. It's like, so wait a second.
Dude,
so you don't know.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. That's what I did hear that. So go ahead. I remember he said that. Yeah.
It's funny. It's like, well, wait a second. There's a scripture that says, if Israel were done away with, the Lord would have to do away with the sun and the moon, nearly paraphrasing. You can get that if you want. But it boggles the mind. So it's like, so you really tell me that black people today are not the Israelites of the Bible? It's like, well, who are? It's like, oh, well, they're done away with. Well, how the hell can they be done away with if you go, what is that, Revelation 7th chapter, where it speaks about the men that are being brought from the tribes of Israel, right? So even if you do believe that salvation for every human being, okay, we'll go with that. But the point is that it's taking people from these 12 tribes of Israel. So how could you be taking people from that if they don't even exist in this time period as he suggested? It just doesn't make sense.
I'll read Jeremiah 31:36, which ETT was quoting. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. So this group, the Israelites and the law are essentially one-to-one. So these ordinances, the law and all that, they're the ones who are going to honor it, okay, the most fervently, okay? So God's like, if I forget all my laws, then I'll just destroy Israel as well. This is what he's saying here. And so that's not the case, okay? And so Revelation 7 and 14, where the elect are being sealed and being mentioned, also supports, here's a 2-for-1, reincarnation, okay, because those souls are back, and that it also supports that the Israelites are alive and well in the last days, okay? And so I'm glad you brought that up, man, because that stood out to me. And I'm like, that's insane that he made that statement. This is why I want people to understand, okay? I'm not trying to give ETT and other people a hard time when I teach, where it's like man sharpens man. ETT and I are not really off on that many teachings. And so we need to figure out who's right, okay? And then if I'm right, then I'm going to prepare him for what's going to come. And then if he's right, he's going to prepare me for what's going to come, okay? Same with Flat Earth Boxer. So I'm not trying to be a prick, okay? People think that I'm the meanest person alive, okay? And that's not the case. These things are serious, is what I'm trying to say. And so, no, you can't get on a hangout and say Israel doesn't exist, Okay, well, throw your Bible out. Throw your Bible out. Okay, then those are the people that are the leaders in the kingdom. So the kingdom can't exist then. So what are we looking forward to? More of this? Okay, come on. So good servant and all you people, again, we're not trying to be hard on you. Those smaller channels have a better chance. Okay, we're actually not trying to troll you. Sometimes we're laughing at you a little bit, but we want to talk with the smaller channels, then we can learn something, and then what do we get? Okay, we want to learn. Okay, and I'm teaching the things about the two witnesses with end times teacher, first of all, because he can understand what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, and so it's for edification, so just know that. FEB, you want to say something?
I forgot what I was going to say.
My bad. Was it related to Israel being destroyed permanently?
No, I mean, that's just obvious. No, I'm good. I forgot what it was.
All right, that's cool. But ETT, was that? Yeah, more stuff. That's a good point. We need to people.
Which I'm as I said, he wanted to come on a show with me, man. Even though that idea is ridiculous, I do think that it would make a very interesting conversation to hear what they have to say. So maybe we can help educate him on why he should not believe that. But of course, it will sharpen our sword by learning, stuff that they'll use to support that statement, right? And I brought out earlier, he said that all of that happened in the dark ages, right? Christ came, ruled, and then he's not in power today because we're in the time where Satan's ruling for a little bit. Now the funny thing about it is somebody in the comments asked, okay, brother, can you show us proof of this? And as Man of God said, he was merely giving his speculation or opinion on it. He couldn't provide proof. It's like, okay. Now, the one thing he did do was say, well, you can't drink the salt water today. So that, proves that something happened to the salt water, right? What was it? I can't think of it. But the scriptures speak about the water being poisoned. Nearly paraphrasing it. I believe it's also in wormwood. You're right. You're right. That one. That's what he said, right? So he said, well, the ocean, you can't drink that. And I was going to say, well, wait a second. You can purify the water, and there's multiple different ways to do that. So you can drink the water as long as you purify it. Same thing with pond water. You can drink pond water, but if you drink it right from the pond, you're going to get sick and probably die from it. But you can purify the water, right? So I'd like to bring him on a show because I got a lot of stuff that we got to ask that brother. You know what I'm saying?
That one would be better. Concave, dude. That was cringe, man. That was mad funny. But yeah, I would say more than a flame. He sounds fairly he doesn't sound crazy and all that. I think it would be a good discussion.
Hey, Man of God, did you see? Yeah, which we got to talk about that whole discussion I did with Concave. But real quick, I did want to say. Flatter Foxer, let me just make this one point.
I'll give it to you in a second, FEB. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, Man of God, did you see that Concave Earth Christians, he did 3 or 4 live shows about you today?
Ooh, I went there and only I was watching. So I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess. You know what I like about him in the weird way is he just is in his own world. He doesn't even care what anybody else thinks. And I'm not saying that that's good, but in a weird way, I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting, dude. He was literally he's literally saying, why aren't we worshiping him? He was annoyed that we were not worshiping him. And I was like, oh,
who darkeneth counsel? Okay, all right. So this is
funny. Go ahead, dude.
Okay, so I can't keep suffering this, but I'm gonna do this and then I'll leave. But okay, so there's a star called Betelgeuse, and Betelgeuse it's conspicuously similar to wormwood. And you have in terms of style, and then his mysterious dimming of Betelgeuse indicates supermassive star is dying, and they're saying that it's going to die soon. And Betelgeuse is in the corner of Orion. It's in his shoulder, and it's this bright orange star. And so when that star disappears, or more precisely falls into the sea, it's going to turn the waters bitter, which makes reference to Jeremiah 23. He talks about turn the prophets, or I got to find it. But the whole Jeremiah 23 is my favorite chapter in Jeremiah. Yeah. Where he says, when the prophet or the priest come to you and they ask you, what is the burden? You shall tell them what burden. And in other translations says, you are the burden, because that's what amazing. The Septuagint says.
Yeah.
Mamasa.
I love that language.
And I'll find it one sec. Wormwood.
Some of the Bible is actually funny, not to make fun of it, but it actually has a sense of humor.
There are people in the church that I go to that,
just to add,
ETT, you just please, I'm going to leave soon. And
just let him finish.
Go ahead.
Okay. Because it's like listening to it's like nails on a chalkboard hearing you talk to me. I have seen also the prophets of Jerusalem, and a horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom, and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them to drink the water of gall. For the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness, and all the land. And for thus saith the Lord of hosts, hearken not unto the words of the prophets that prophesy unto you. They make in vain, they speak an evil vision they speak a vision of their own heart, and not of the mouth of the Lord. They say still unto them that despise me, the Lord hath said, ye shall have peace. They say unto every one that walketh out after the imagination of his own heart, no evil shall come upon you. For who hath stood in the counsel of the Lord, and who hath perceived his word, who hath marked his word, and who hath heard it? And I heard it. Behold, the war. It just goes on and goes on and goes on. The anger of the Lord shall not return until they have executed, till they have performed the thoughts of his hearts. In the latter days he shall consider it perfectly. I have not sent these prophets, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned from their evil way and from their evil doings. And am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any man hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, saith the Lord? Do I not fill heaven and earth, saith? So that word secret places in Hebrew is bimistrim, and mystery in the mystery in Hebrew, because the word mystery comes from the Greek mysterion, and mysterion comes from the Hebrew Chaldee satur, and satur is 666, and mystrim is the root, so it's bet is n. It's the prefix. Mistar is secret, and then places, it's implicit. Bimistrim. And you should look up the Hebrew interlinear on Jeremiah 23:24. And I've heard the prophets say that prophesy lies in my names. I have dreamed. How long shall it be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are the prophets of the deceit of their own heart, which think to cause my people to forget my name, and by their dreams which they tell every man to his neighbor, if their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. It just goes on, man. This is the best. I love this. And when this people, and it's 33, of course, 23:33, and when this people or the prophet or a priest shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of the Lord? Thou shalt say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, saith the Lord. And then in Septuagint, it says, you are the burden.
Dude, that's I did a full lesson on that. Let me read that, actually. So you're into the numerology, man. I like that.
14, 33, 23.
So here's
6,
the thing.
18.
The 2-3 is 33. So that's essentially Jeremiah.
Exact 30 is 33, 33.
Yeah, I think that's cool. You brought out that one of those words means 666. And so
that's Satur.
Yeah, if you got into the languages, you can find even more of the numerology. But Jeremiah 23:33, and when this people or the prophet or a priest shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of the Lord? Thou shalt say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, saith the Lord. And so those verses are not in those positions randomly. Okay.
Right.
Not at all. But one thing I want to mention about what you said, right, in Jeremiah 23, which is kind of to throw our friend D. Kuhn under the bus. Okay. Wherever God is, okay, his real people, they're going to turn from evil. That's what it said. I can't remember what verse you were quoting, but I'll find it. And so that's when we know that God exists, okay, that God is working with a group of people, okay. And so I'll find that.
And then Jeremiah 23:24, I just prove that real quick because I like to prove the thing. Jeremiah,
go ahead, sorry. Jeremiah
23:24, and then type in the interlinear. That word, can any man hide himself? Im istar, that's the word to hide. Im istar ish b'mistrim, and the root of istar and mistrim is the same, which is satur, or b'mistrim, secret places. B'mistrim, and let's see if I can get the pronunciation.
Here's verse 22. Here's verse 22 while you're finding that. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they should have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doing. When you actually hear God's word, people turn from evil because they know that, first of all, God said it, and then God's about to bring some kind of judgment. And so that's why a lot of these people can't prophesy. Okay. Because once you know the truth, for example, the flat stationary earth and all these other things, then we know that God is about to come. And so we clean up what we're doing. Okay. And none of those people are cleaning up anything. They're in the club. They have what's called a Passover in a strip club, basically. Are you kidding me? And then they have the nerve then to come and tell us that it's their Hebraic scripture that I need to go and respect and all that kind of stuff. So, well, then why isn't Elamite running circles around you ding dongs? And so what's going on here? Okay, there's something else going on. Go ahead, FEB.
And the word mystery or mystream and sator, it comes from the root word satar, which is Samic, which is Samic Tav Resh. And when it's the name of a man, like as in the case of in Numbers 13:13, Numbers chapter 13, verse 13. I think it says, let me see if I can find it. Seth. There we go. Satur. This is man's name, Satur. Samek Tav Vav Resh. Satur. And his name is, it means he's from Asher. Satur. An Asherite, he was a spy. His name means hidden. Again, it's from the root Satar, which means to be, and that's the mystery god Saturn. They worship the hidden one, the hidden god. And then if I go to the gematria on Satur, the name Satur, which is also the name of Saturn. Satur is where you get the name Saturn, because the Babylonians, the Chaldeans, they worshipped him under as the name Satur, and then the Romans started calling him Saturn or Saturn.
What's the broad point that you're making, just so our viewers know? What are you sharing?
The mystery god of mystery Babylon is Kronos, Saturn, Lucifer, Corona, and that codes that as the name of a man named Satur in Numbers chapter 13, verse 13. And if you take that name, and I'm going to go here to my...
Here's something I want to add to that, by the way. For somebody asked earlier, is our cell phones part of the beast and all that? Okay. I used to work for Amazon, and guess what their clocking system was called? Kronos. Okay.
Yeah.
So like you clocking in and out with the quote unquote beast. And so is that a part of the image of the beast? Yeah, because this whole system is Antichrist. And so, but does that mean that you need to fear your cell phone? No, it's the people at the high levels, okay, that are doing all that stuff. But yeah, the beast system's everywhere. Go ahead.
So yeah, Numbers 13:13, to be clear, it is in fact the name of man Saturn, which is Samek Tav Vav Resh, as I posted right here. There you go, Satur. Yeah. And it says from the tribe Satur. And then if you take that name from Numbers 13:13, and you take that name in Hebrew, type it Samek Tav Vav Resh, that's how you spell his name, it is 666, which is the hidden one, which is Lucifer of the night. And this is confirmed again in two Babylons from like 100 years ago. Samek, this is analogous in Romanized ladder. Samek Tav Vav Resh 666, Nimrod, Saturn, all of it. The crowned one, Corona, Kronos.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that's amazing, because like even on the deeper levels, man, like this 666 system, which for people to understand from a spiritual perspective, it's people that lack God's spirit. Okay, it's a fleshy. They're not able to understand God and the prophecies and any of that. You could tell them anything, and they'll be like, I don't know. Okay, and so they're programmed to be that way. Okay, and so 6 is a number that lacks the spirit, and then 7 is a complete number with the spirit. And so,
hey, can I?
Yeah.
I just wanted to add a statement, because you said earlier that certain parts of the scriptures that are there for sarcasm, right, to be funny.
Right.
I was reading the other day. I was reading the book of Mark, right, and if you go to Mark the 14th chapter, when it speaks about the final, the Last Supper, right, and when they deliver Christ, to be crucified, there is something here at the bottom as they're leading Christ away. I'll read it here. It's Mark chapter 14, verse 51. It says, "And there followed him," and this is after they're carrying Christ away to crucify him and to stand before Pilate. It says, "And there followed him a certain young man clothed, having a linen cloth cast about his naked body. And the young man laid hold on him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked." Right. So this young man came after the Lord, and when he saw, what was happening, he ran away and dropped the cloth. So he ran away from them with no clothes on. Right. So it's like, but why does it need to be added there? Somebody like the deacon would say, oh, well, see, that proves it's not the inspired word of God then, because there's certain parts here that are just to be sarcastic. You saw what they said. They said the book of Hebrews isn't the word of God. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh my gosh. Dude.
That's that was the young rich master, I believe.
I believe it is. I believe it is, because if it says, if my memory serves me correct, it said back in when you read about the young master, it said a certain young man, right? So I do agree that was probably the same man there, right? He was told the first time, hey, look, if you want to come follow me, you have to sell all your stuff, right? So he didn't want to do that. But then I do believe, and I do agree with Flat Earth Boxer, this is probably the same man here who was following Christ in a distance, right? And then he, tried to help out, trying to, fight off those who were trying to take Christ. But then his linen cloth he had on fell off, so he ran away naked, right? So
that honestly makes me cry when I think about it, actually.
Jeez.
Right.
Another thing that I sort of find funny in a weird way is Acts 2:15. For these are not drunken as ye suppose, seeing it is but the third hour of the day. So like people thought that them speaking in this weird way was like crazy. And then, the apostles are like, dude, it's only in the morning. Okay. No one's drinking and all that kind of stuff. I just find some of these things, like maybe people don't quite get how kind of like, they had a sense of humor. Okay. Like they're not robots like the apostles and disciples and all that. So, I mean, they knew how to laugh and stuff, but yeah.
I like when Jesus says, thou hast said.
Absolutely.
Thou hast said. Yo, is it me, Jesus? Thou hast said. You said exactly. It.
Yeah, he used sarcasm a lot, for sure. Like a lot. Okay, you're a leader of the Jews and you don't know these things and all that, and then you said it and that kind of thing. So
and then he goes off on this rant that if you're Nicodemus and you just showed up to the guy to talk and he just goes, oh, and then just goes off, no man has ascended up to heaven except him that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man who even isn't. Imagine really sitting there live and just totally understanding what he said.
Yeah,
like. That would be very
amazing. He's tough, man. Like this is what I like about some aspect of what the Hebrews brought out is that he's austere. Okay. Like with people that are trying to be tough, he's tough, but with people who are humble, he's humble. Okay. So he matches your spirit. Okay. Like this is what I would assume. Okay. And if we were there, then we witnessed it, but he's like that. Okay. And so when I make those videos, I'm not trying to defend myself, but a lot of YouTube's filled with trolls. Okay. We have a good panel here. We have friendly conversation, but a majority of people that come by all of our channels are just trolls. They're not real people. Okay. I know you people now personally, but that's why I say some of those things to get those people away. But that's the way Christ was. Imagine Christ, imagine his power, how much everywhere he walked, people knew like how much power he had, like they're gonna like look at him sideways all the time. So, he would have got that times a million kind of thing.
There are prominent people in my church who are now rebuking me and calling me a sinner on account of the fact that I speak to people in this manner when they're being like, when they're teaching lies. Like there's people who claim to be like Hebrew scholars. They're telling women that the word church comes from the word circus, and it's like, and then trying to say, well, it's in Hebrew, it's in this, and well, in Hebrew it does mean circular tent before the cross. That's what it means, because the tabernacle was a dome tent in the wilderness, and that's why it's called church, because it comes from the word circle, which is the circle of the earth, which is an analogy of and a representative of the pattern of the things in heaven per Hebrews chapter 9. And then then I rebuke him on this basis, but not even like insulting him. It wasn't even a rebuke. It was just a correction, frankly. And then he Nathan Thompson?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan Thompson. I believe he's a government agent chill because he's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course he is, dude.
Thank you. Okay, so these people in this church, I think we have this as a witness, but there's multiple witnesses to this.
He's a government shill. He's on our panel. I'm just.
I know. True. To be honest,
hey, I have a question. Hey, can I ask something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I just wanted to ask this real quick. Flat Earth Boxer, why do you still go to church though, man? I thought you knew that the Lord doesn't dwell in a church. What one do you go to? What is the denomination, if I may ask?
Even the frame of the question's gay, so I wish.
Mind of God, you get what I'm asking, right? Mind of God.
Hey, how about this? Mind of God, you ask the question in a way that's not retarded. Then maybe I'll understand it.
Well, actually, I've given you a hard time about that too, so I was actually curious to know how you'd answer it. Let me word it in a more diplomatic way. By the way, ETT, this is what you did, man. You could have been friendly and we would have been fine. But so FEB, I guess I have to ask you, and I have a feeling I know the way you're going to answer this, is that for ETT, he's not going to be ministered to. He's going to minister to other people. I'll let you answer it. Is that why you go to other people that you already know more than?
That is in some sense a part of it. Yeah. Like it is the fact that I'm going there to let these people know, and because it's the gathering place of people who are most capable in my region to understand these things and most happy to. And I have an obligation to my fellow man, and many of whom are actually believers in the blood atonement of Jesus Christ and who love the truth. And though some of them in that setting don't, and that in that church, you've probably seen the live stream, and it's headed by a pastor named Pastor Tim Coleman. He's the first. He's from that IFB movement. And despite that, there's a lot of things that can't be communicated in any single one of his sermons about anything. And of course,
is he a flat earther?
Yeah, he is.
Sorry
of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I could never be a fat.
Understood. Okay. And so I guess our question, maybe I don't want to put words in ETT's mouth, but with you knowing that and just how scholarly you are with all the stuff you bring here, like, wouldn't you only be sort of satisfied with somebody who's constantly in prophecy, or is that maybe not as, maybe you are getting that and I don't see it on those live streams, but that's all I want.
Yah was patient with me, and he still is patient with me. And I'm seeing that this man, he's going through a lot in terms of reckoning with the truth. And I can see that. And he doesn't really resist it, though on occasion he'll say some things like, maybe we should just pray for a revival that American, and I'll cringe, and everyone in church.
No.
And wait, just listen.
No,
everyone, okay. And the thing is, though, everyone in church also cringes because they know. And that's, so you see, it's not a monolithic thing. Okay. And when I say, and this guy, everyone's born in a time in history, and everyone has a particular function. Again, he decided early in his life that he would be a minister of the gospel. That's what he would do, and he committed himself to that end in a time in which nobody was telling any truth at all whatsoever, except maybe in some sense as respected the gospel as it was understood by those people. Yeah. And so he committed himself in earnest to these things, and in earnest not just to the gospel, not just to his evangelism, not just to any IFE movement, but primarily and firstly to the word of God as written. And the proof of this is not just that he accepted flat earth when it was brought to him, though with some, and also at great risk to himself, after he had already gotten kicked out of the government took his physical church, and now he's having to teach out of houses of parishioners who in many ways despised his doctrines and despised him in certain ways, and they're only going to his church. Originally, he only had two families in the church. No, maybe one. Yeah, two. It's one family. And there's maybe five regular attendees, and he was preaching every Sunday and Wednesday to these people. And in spite of that, if he expressed this view, the risk he would lose the only place he had to preach, because the people whose house it is, they despise the flat earth. They despise it entirely. And then he preached it, said, "Yeah, the earth's flat." And he's
powerful truth, man.
And he risked losing the only place he could preach out of, really, and besides the park.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because really, if you do teach that, and that's just one of the many truths that we know, you can't form really a congregation. You can't go and submit a 501c3, anything. Okay. Right. Yeah, for sure. So
and it's not he's anti-501c3. And furthermore, as soon as he did that, the church grew by orders of magnitude. And then what also happened. Oh, and then also in that same period of the year, I did not know this about him, because I've been keeping, or at least keeping to the best of my understanding, but keeping or at least observing the Passover. Yeah. And my studying of the lunar solar calendar, this and that, various things, Philo, how these things work, the astronomy. I learned about how the Passover is on the 14th day of the first month, and the month being defined as the lunation, and that 3 days after the Passover, which would be Abib or Nisan 17, that's when you offer first fruits. That would be the first, and picturing Jesus, the first fruits of the resurrection. All centers around the 14th day of the first month after the spring equinox. Now, there's no basis for Easter Sunday. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't match up with the Bible. You can't have Good Friday, then Sunday, and have 3 days and 3 nights. Yeah. But between the preparation day before the Passover to first fruits, that is 3 days and 3 nights. And all that stuff corresponds to the moon. And that was the first issue. It's called the Quartodeciman controversy. And I'm gonna just put this on camera so you guys can see.
We got a question from the chat, FEB, when you're done. It's from an anonymous person. So, but
okay. So if you type in quartodeciman, quartodecimanism, this is a very important study in my opinion, but it is just as a matter of fact, quartodecimanism. This was the first conflict in the early church following the establishment of the 7 churches in Asia. It's the first issue between Rome and the Hebrew churches in Asia. And they were all the Hebrew church, the 8 churches in Asia were all headed by Hebrew
You believe those are real churches?
I believe they actually physically existed in
Okay.
history.
No, I'm just asking. Yeah, curious. Okay, thank you.
My belief.
Yeah.
But and in any case, there's a guy named Polycarp who was a disciple of John the Apostle, who's the bishop of the church of Smyrna, and that church gets blessed in the book of Revelation and all these things. And so anyway, he fought for the Quarthodeciman principle. There's no Baptist preacher, no preacher, I know nobody who, for any reason, much less a Baptist, he didn't even know what this word meant. He never heard this word before.
I've never seen that word in my life.
Despite that, he insists on keeping Passover on the 14th day of the first month of the spring.
FEB, can we segue a little bit just because I want to get through these verses, and ETT has a bit of a time crunch, and I wanted him to be here while I read it. But maybe you and I, if you're up for it, we can do another one, man. You got to be from Issachar, dude. You know a lot about all that stuff, dude. That's sick. But we got an anonymous question in the chat about hell. I'm sure you watch my videos. What is your take on that? Do you believe hell is physical or spiritual, or are you wondering?
Wait. You skipped the question I asked you.
Dude, relax. Chill out, ETT. Dude. Yeah, we'll get to that. So just first of all, hell, just because I'm curious, what is your thoughts on that?
I do believe, and again, this is how I've just learned. I've just started figuring out earthly things. So I mean, I have to express a certain amount of humility as regards spiritual things.
Yeah.
Especially things that are happening in the future when I have a hard time figuring out what's going to happen tomorrow. Though I just have a bit of a general picture, but. Yeah. As far as that goes, I do believe that hell is on earth. I do believe that I will be able to see the pit in which people are burning from earth, on earth. I do believe they will be put body and soul into hell.
Okay.
Though I don't believe that where I currently sit is literally that pit of fire. I think that I don't believe that the garden was hell when God created it. Though I've heard your reasoning that, the snake was in the garden, so how is it not hell? To which I say, I understand that, and I understand the internal coherence of what you're saying. But is there any, and when I think of hell, I don't think there's any good thing in hell. But God, when he made the animals, he made the firmament, it was good. Well,
but there is nothing good here, and when Christ was taken away.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe think there were good things in the garden.
Well, wherever God is, there's good things, but God is not here in a sustained way. And that's why we get on preterists a lot, ETT and I, because we ask a lot of times, and he asks rightfully, where's your kingdom? And it's not for you, but where God is, there's goodness, or there has to be. And so if God was here in a sustained way, then no, I would not say that this is hell. But it's because he's not here. That's why.
In that sense, I can say that I don't believe that God is not here. I believe God is in some sense here, to the extent that God dwells in temples not made with hands, but the temples of our bodies, to the extent that we have the Holy Spirit. And so to the extent that there is any of the elect here, this place. Okay, here's the thing. Like the extent to it, and I think I've said this to you, the extent to which I 100% agree with your sentiment from beginning to end, at least your categorization of the earth within the category hell.
Yeah.
And again, this is a categorical issue, and I don't see the downstream theological implications about how we actually see the thing different. I think it's a categorical or nomenclature difference, but in any case, it's not one that I would say you're a Satanist over. But
you can call me a Satanist, because if I don't think it's incorrect, I am. So okay. I don't take it personally, but
I don't think it's on purpose. I don't even think that's something that's anyway. So
no, that's fair enough. I think you and I, maybe if you're up for it, we can have another combo, but. I think that that's good to hear. That at least you're not teaching that it's a spiritual realm where a soul gets cooked for eternity or anything like that. Is
soul and body? That's literally.
I'm not sure if
on the physical plane.
If everyone can hear me or not.
Okay. But, I'll give it to ETT because he's been mute for a while. So thanks.
Not sure if this is on my end or their end.
ETT, can you hear me?
Foxer, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I
hear you.
ETT, can you hear us?
I don't know.
ETT can't hear us. Yeah, I guess not.
Just jump back in. I'll kick you.
In all truth, I have every time he says anything to me, it's unpleasant. I'm going to probably leave, and it's not unpleasant because he's even trying to be unpleasant.
No, if somebody said that to me, they wouldn't even exist to me. Like he doesn't talk to me like that to my face. Hell no.
Right.
But and I don't want that vibe here anyway, because you bring a very academic angle, and so I want to protect that. But I get it. That's why he's asking me to ask you. So, just so you know,
it's so crazy. This is such a weird guy.
I'm the mediator, so it's cool.
Just an interesting thing. I think I currently am a consultant, for lack of a better word, to a guy named Richard, citizen journalist, who was when all the coronavirus, you say hospital stuff was going on. Well, like when they were saying that the hospitals were full, he was going around videotaping them to say that they were not full. And then he generated a large following, and now he goes around the country video to just basically covering the events largely for the for a largely, to be honest, frankly, somewhat diluted, well, very diluted Trump audience. If I'm being honest, at the level we're talking, they're deeply, terribly diluted. That said, a lot of them are very they're open to the truth but they're boomers. They don't know how to research. They don't know how to see anything, but there are, like, among, let's say, 300,000, there will be like maybe 10,000 who, if you tell them the Earth is flat, they'll say, like, yeah, I know, I had a feeling. And you tell them Trump's the Antichrist, or an Antichrist, however you want to put it. They'll say, yeah, that it hurts to hear, but it really starts to make sense.
They don't like when you say that here in Houston either, man. So I get it. Yeah.
Well, what I'm suggesting, so when we drive around the country, I'll play your talks, your longer talks. And he said, "Who is this guy?" He said, "You're just calling everyone a Satanist." Like, who is this guy? I like him. Because, you know.
No, actually, Jewish Question said that he found out about my channel through you. So again, I'm not trying to start beef, because
no. What I'm saying is, it'd be cool. Yeah. Like, it'd be cool for you to do a conversation with him on his show. He has 300,000 subscribers, and then you might attract a lot of retards. But that said, what I'm finding, and this was the issue. So for me, it's like, this was a trade-off. Okay, if I start talking things that I believe to this audience of people, I'm going to attract a lot of retards and haters and Trump and Q-tards. Yeah. But at the same time, the reward for that, the other end, is that there are a lot of these people who are surrounded by boomer Q-tards who have had no one else to talk to, and they had no idea how to find your channel or my channel or any of this stuff. And these people, I feel bad for them. These are like old ladies. How would an old lady find your channel?
I don't know if you saw me and JQ talk for like 2 hours or whatever, but that's what he was saying about your channel. And I don't know if I agreed wholeheartedly. I was kind of tired, but that's what he was saying. And I agree with that, man. I'm not trying to like constipate your ministry, but I would say some of the doctrine, like, that's why ETT, even though he's a little rough around the edges, he's back now. He can speak up. Like, it's good to get that clean only. And the reason I'm protective of that for people when they come by my channel is I did that. I went out on the streets and said a lot of things that are incorrect. And I don't want people to do that, because of the cool thing about a lot of things that we know now, it's obvious. But FEB, dude, I got ETT back, man. You can stay on and chime in, but we're going to go through Second Esdras.
All right. See you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Hey, can I talk for a minute now?
I'll call you, man. Take it as long as you want. Go.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, it's like, hey, man, Flat Earth Boxer, man. I was just trying to be friendly and have a talk with you, man. Why you gotta push me off? But hey, I got something I wanted to read real quick, brother, because you said you forgave me for it. So why you still got to be toxic? It's okay, man. It's cool. But I just wanted to read something real quick. I just wanted to read this real quick. This is the book of Mark, chapter 11 and verse 24. It says, "Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye will receive them, and ye shall have them." Listen here. "And when ye shall stand praying, forgive, if ye have aught against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father which is in heaven forgive your trespasses." So you said that you forgave me for my statement. All right, that's cool. But why can't we have a civil conversation as long as we're both being respectable? That's all I wanted to do. Why should I not be able to ask a question, right? I just wanted to ask because he made a statement and said, "I'm saved." So I wanted to ask a question and say, "Okay, brother, well, what are you saved from?" You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to ask.
Well, dude, you did that to yourself, man. That has nothing to do with me. But you can work with FEB. I think he's smart. I like when he talks. Sometimes I don't know what point he's making. That's my only issue when he comes on. But he shares a lot of very, very useful information. I would say just like you, like I learn things. But dude, I forgive you. But just so you know, forgiveness isn't, and for people out there with relationship issues, forgiveness doesn't mean you go back with a person that's hurting you. For example, I'm not saying ETT's hurting us, because it was just they didn't understand a sense of humor. But for people to understand all those verses about forgiveness doesn't mean that you go back into an abusive relationship. God's not saying that. You have to work with God to understand that. But that's not what it means. Okay. If someone's hurting you, you're supposed to separate yourself from people who are, not of Christ. Okay. So just know that. But ETT, man, what's on your brain, man? What else, dude? I forgive you. That matters. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, I just brought that up, man, because I just wanted to talk with him, but he's like, well, no, I don't want to talk to you. It's like, okay, well, brother, I don't think I did anything wrong. Why can't we have a civil discussion? It's like,
But it's
okay, well,
you intimidate people, man, because you're Biggie Smalls. Not everybody's met a celebrity. You know what I mean? So just like, it's just, you and I, we're cool, man. It's fine.
Well, I got a serious question for you, man.
Yeah.
And we can talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
And you brought up to me earlier about Revelation 16, right? I just want to know, just tell me real quick, just so I understand, which I believe I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But you teach at the people administering these plagues are the two witnesses, correct?
Yeah. And by the way, the only reason that I'm trolling you about this is because you said I was soft about not wanting to talk about legal age. I'm not. I know that you now. I'm glad you're talking about this because it proves that you're not soft. You want to talk about it. But yes, yes, exactly right. That 11 and 16 are parallel. Yes.
Okay. I thank you for your answer. Now, the reason I asked that is because it says the 7 angels were the ones administering this. Now, if you're going to say, well, 2 of the angels are the 2 witnesses, it's like, okay, I'll roll with that. Well, who are the 5 others then? Go ahead.
No, the angels are in these so-called UFOs. So again, I can't prove this, but the way I think it's going to happen when those plagues are being released in Revelation 16, is that what you're talking about? When the first angel went out and second angel and all
that? Let me see real quick.
I haven't. So here's the deal. No, so sorry, ETT. The 2 men are going to be on Earth, probably in New York or something, like in a big city, and then the quote great city, and then at their command, they'll say, okay, maybe it's every 6 months because it's 3.5 years, and then there's 7 of these, right? I don't know. I'm guessing maybe every 6 months. That's the way it's planned, and then they'll be like, okay, time for the first one, and then you're going to see a UFO sighting, and then after that. The first one, there'll be SOARs. And then the second one, maybe they'll go over the seas and they'll have a cluster, like how we see all these sightings right now. And then the world's going to be like, it's them that's doing it. They'll put 2 and 2 together. And they'll be like, okay, those are the enemies. And so that's what I believe it means. When it talks about angels, it means UFOs.
That's interesting because when I read that, I perceive it to be the physical angels. And I do want to say real quick, excuse me, I do have an ambulam pulling up to the side of me here, and I'm sorry about that. But if you hear noise in the background,
I didn't even shoot a slug yet, and you called the ambulam.
Yeah, I actually think my neighbor has been having some heart problems, so I think he has to go to the hoppable inside joke. So he has to go on the ambulam. Anyway, going back, getting serious now. Let me just pull it up real quick because I got it with me. Revelation 16:1. It says, and I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, go your way and pour out your vial upon the earth. And pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahweh upon the earth. Right. So I'm reading this and it says the 7 angels. Now, if you want to say that's UFOs, we'll roll with that. It's like, okay. Yeah. So now we see these are the angels, right? According to you, UFOs. Yeah. Okay. So what does the 2 witnesses have to do with this? If we read each individual plague, it says, and this angel went out and poured out his plague, or that angel went out and poured out his vial upon the earth. Well, what does this have to do with the 2 witnesses here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've thought about that. I don't know what they're going to be doing during that time because they're going to be in America and they're going to be walking around, and I don't know what they'll do because like I'm bored, and so I don't know like what they'll do, and so I don't know. That's a very, very good question. And so I don't know what they'll be doing in between their ministry because they're not doing it 24/7. They're not going to be out on the street prophesying 24/7. And so that's the part that is a little bit difficult for me to wrap my head around. But, I would assume that God has things prepared for them. It's a very, very spiritual time because the elect are taken away. And so everybody's going to be on edge. It's going to be a very, very scary time for people on earth. And so I don't know what they'll be doing aside from Revelation 16, but the Bible says that they have power to enact plagues on the entire earth as often as they want. So they have to do at least 16. So they literally have control over the entire earth. They could tell a building just to topple over and it'll just fall over. I'm not saying they'll do that. Yeah. I don't know what they'll do. I'm assuming they'll have a ministry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, I just want to read. Let me just read I'll just read the first vial just so the audience can hear what I'm referring to when I say the angels went out and did this. Let me just read it. Verse 2, it says, and the first went, which the first is what? One of the angels, right? Poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sword upon the men which have received the MOB, and upon them which worship his image. Right. So it's referring to, and you can continue to read, but these angels are going and pouring out their vials. Now, of course, I believe that those are actual angels that are doing that. Now, whether you want to say if it's actual angels or UFOs, I suppose that's not necessarily as important because the angels are in the UFOs, right?
Mhm.
But whatever stance you take on that, I'm just not seeing where you can incorporate the two witnesses in here, because you can't go to a text that says the two witnesses poured out their vials. It says the angels, right?
Yeah.
Now, as I brought up, if you want to say, well, two of them were the two witnesses, it's like, okay, well, who are the 5 others that are also there with the 2 witnesses who are pouring these vials out?
Yeah,
You
that's not,
understand
sorry,
what's
just so
going
you know,
on?
that's, yes, agree. Just so you know, that's not my claim. It's that 2 witnesses are 2 men that are going to be in America in a body. Okay. Like you can go and talk to them, you know, and they're going to have a ministry. And then, like it says in Revelation 11, people are going to go up to them and argue with them, just like people argue now when you bring out the Bible. And so this in Revelation 16 is happening in the sky. And it's also consistent with Revelation 14:6. And during this time, like I said, it's going to be a very, very spiritual time because the gospel is going to be preached, okay, during this time, at the command of the 2 witnesses as well. And so essentially, if anybody doesn't believe them, they have the ability to command anything in the sky to happen. That's how powerful they are. And so this is the time where I believe that the mixed multitude, they're going to have to see God, you know, to believe certain things. But if you read Revelation 14:6, the gospel is going to be preached in the last days by angels. Okay, just know that. It's not GMS or End Times Teacher or me or anybody like that. Revelation 14:6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth and to every nation, kindred, and tongue and people. And so the gospel is only going to be preached by divine entities. Okay. And if you read Revelation 14, prior to this happening, the elect are taken away. And so, and I'm telling people, if I'm one of them, this is going to happen this year. Okay. And so,
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
we have sorry to cut you off, man. But we have a lot of questions coming in from the chat. Do you want to get called up on those real quick?
No, I just want to make sure you get your points out. I think
yeah, as I said, I'll definitely, I see it differently.
Yeah,
hey, as I said, I'll respect that, because as I said, you could be right and I could be wrong, and we'll find out in the near future, right? And I'll totally accept that I could most certainly be incorrect with my understanding.
Yeah.
And
I don't
we'll
view
see
you as a person that will give them a hard time. Let's say that happens. I don't think that you or FEB or even me, I'm not. I'll go and ask them questions. But let me get into 2nd Esdras 13, and you can chime in whenever you want, ETT, because you're familiar with all this. And then I'll go to the chat, and then anything you want to talk about, you know, if you have time, we'll wrap it up. But after that, but I'm going to go through 2nd Esdras 13 and show you something that links why 11 and 16 are connected. And I know that that's a question that you're bringing up, and it's a good question because it's not obvious except for the earthquakes, okay, that are at the end of them. Okay, 2nd Esdras 13, okay. And after 7 days, I dreamed a dream in the night, and lo, a wind arose from the sea and stirred up all its waves. As I kept looking, the wind made something like the figure of a man come up out of the heart of the sea, and I saw that this man flew with the clouds of heaven. Listen to this, okay? For people who don't understand, the clouds are the so-called UFOs. They're everywhere in the Bible. It's very, very important to understand that. That's why we keep harping on that. And wherever he turned his face to look, everything under his gaze trembled. Okay, so they're powerful. And whenever his voice issued from his mouth, all who heard his voice melted as wax melts when it feels the fire. Okay, so they're capable of shooting fire. Listen to this. Okay, so the reason I'm reading 2nd Esdras 13, just so people understand, I'm going to link 2nd Esdras 13 with Revelation 11 and Revelation 16, which is what ETT was kind of talking about and what we're talking about. Okay, and then this is very, very important to understand this revelation that I received. Verse 5, after this, I looked and saw that an innumerable multitude of people were gathered together from the 4 winds of heaven. Listen to this, to make war against the man who came out of the sea. We know who that man is. Okay, that's Christ, Yahushua. And I looked and saw that he carved out for himself a great mountain and flew up onto it. So he travels in these so-called UFOs. Okay, and they're huge. That's why it's described here as a mountain. Okay. And I tried to see the region or place from which the mountain was carved, but I could not. And this is what I read earlier. It's a mountain carved without hands, as described in Daniel. It literally looks like a rock in the sky. It was not man-made. Okay, all these UFO sightings, people are like, "Oh, they're drones." Really? We're gonna find out whether those are drones or not. Okay, listen to this. These are not man-made structures. Okay. Verse 8. After this, I looked and saw that all who had gathered together against him to wage war with him were filled with fear, and yet they dared to fight. This is how satanic this earth is. When he saw the onrush of the approaching multitude, he lifted neither his hand nor held a spear or any weapon of war. He does it without the labor of the law. That's what it's described elsewhere. But I saw only how he sent forth from his mouth something like a stream of fire, and from his lips a flaming breath, and from his tongue he shot forth a storm of sparks. Okay. All these were mingled together, the stream of fire and the flaming breath and the great storm, and fell on the onrushing multitude that was prepared to fight, and burned all of them. Okay. Body and soul is going to be destroyed. So that suddenly nothing was seen of the innumerable multitude, but only the dust of ashes and the smell of smoke. When I saw it, I was amazed. Okay. Esdras is probably waking up in like sweats. What was that? Okay. He's seeing this. After this, I saw the man come down from the mountain and called to himself another multitude. Listen to this. This is the link that I want people to understand, even ETT. Maybe he's not familiar with this. After this, I saw the same man come down from the mountain and called to himself another multitude that was peaceable. Okay. This is while he's destroying. Listen to what I just read. The dust of the ashes and the smell of smoke. He's destroyed the onrushing multitude. This is after the wrath of God. Okay. Okay. Listen to this. After this, I saw the same man come down from the mountain and call to himself another multitude that was peaceable. They're peace loving. Okay. Then many people came to him, some of whom were joyful and some of whom were sorrowful, some of them who were bound and some who were bringing others as offerings. Okay. So now Christ is coming down, and then a group is visiting him. Okay. They're meeting him. Okay. And they're peaceful. Okay. Now that we're going to get the interpretation. So this is very, very important. This is where the link comes. Then I woke up in great terror and prayed to the Most High and said, from the beginning, you have shown your servant these wonders and have deemed me worthy to have my prayer heard by you. Esdras is righteous. Okay. And then he's deemed worthy to understand this. Now show me the interpretation of this dream also. For as I considered in my mind, alas, for those who will be left in those days, and still more, alas, for those who are not left. Esdras cares about people. Okay. He's always asking what's going to happen to these people. Okay. He's a real Israelite. For those who are not left will be sad because they understand the things that are reserved for the last days, but cannot attain them. But alas, for those who are left, and for that very reason, for they shall see great danger and much distress as these dreams show. Yet it is better to come into these things, though incurring peril, than to pass from the world like a cloud and not see what will happen in the last days. So he's being told here that even though you have to go through trouble, the group that's going to see all these things, it's better for you to see it. It's going to be amazing. That's what he's being told here. There's a reason why we're all going through this stuff. He answered me and said, I will tell you the interpretation of the vision. I'll also explain to you the things that you have mentioned. As for what you said about those who survive and concerning those who do not survive, this is the interpretation. So there's a group that were destroyed, and then there's a group that were joined peaceably. And then he's going to be told who those are. The one who brings the peril at that time will protect those who fall into the peril, who have mighty works and faith toward the Almighty. Okay. So when Christ is doing all that destroying with all this fire, he's going to protect a small group. Okay. While that's happening. Okay. And this is in the Middle East. This is in the Battle of Armageddon. Understand, therefore, that those who are left are more blessed than those who have died. Okay. So this is a group. Okay. Understand, they're being protected. They're not going to touch, the fire is not going to touch them at all. Here's the interpretation of the vision. As for your seeing a man come up from the heart of the sea, this is he whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages. Okay. Who will himself deliver his creation. He will direct those who are left. And as for your seeing wind and fire and a storm coming out of his mouth, and as for his not holding a spear or weapon of war, yet destroying the onrushing multitude that came to conquer him. Okay. They're going to fight against God. This is the interpretation. The days are coming when the Most High will deliver those who are on the earth. First, salvation always happens first in the sequence. And bewilderment of mind shall come up over those who inhabit the earth. They shall plan to make war against one another. Okay, this is the great tribulation. City against city, place against place, people against kingdom, and kingdom against kingdom. This is America is going to get destroyed by the other kingdoms. Okay, this is during the great tribulation. When these things take place and the signs occur that I showed you before, then my son will be revealed, whom you saw as a man coming up from the sea. So all that's going to happen first, and then this is the final destruction. This is Christ returning with his elect. Okay, and so after those things happened, kingdom against kingdom, America gets burned, then you're going to see that thing that you just saw. Okay. And then now here's the details. Then when all the nations hear his voice, all the nations shall leave their own lands and the warfare that they have against one another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw, wishing to come and conquer him. Okay. But he shall stand on the top of Mount Zion Okay, this is symbolic. He's with his elect. And Zion shall come and be made manifest to all people. Okay, prepared and built as you saw the mountain carved without hands. Okay, this is not a man-made structure. They're trying to troll essentially left-hand side with the Bible, all their drones and all this kind of stuff. Okay, mountain carved without hands. Okay, these so-called UFOs look like rocks in the sky if you watch the Independence Day. Then he, my son, will reprove the assembled nations for their ungodliness. This was symbolized by the storm, and will reproach them to their face and their evil thoughts and the torments with which they are to be tortured, which were symbolized by the flames, and will destroy them. Listen to this, without effort by means of the law. Okay, he can just say it, and they're going to get destroyed, which was symbolized by the fire. Okay, and this fire is going to destroy body and soul. Listen to this. Here's the part where I'm going to link the two other chapters. Very important. And as for your seeing him gather to himself another multitude that was peaceable. Okay. These are the 9 tribes. They're all Israelites that were taken away from their land into exile in the days of King Hoshea, whom Shalmaneser, king of Assyrians, made captives. He took them across the river. Remember that. And they were taken into another land. So they had to cross a water body. Okay. Remember that. That's important. But they formed this plan for themselves that they would leave the multitude of the nations, because they don't give a flip what the hell their government says, because they only care about the law, okay, like real Israelites do, not these morons that are on YouTube. But they formed this plan for themselves that they would leave the multitude of the nations and go to a more distant region where no human being had ever lived. God prepared a place for them, okay, so that there at least they might keep their statutes and that they had not kept in their own land, okay? It's the law or their life. That's it with the Israelites, the real ones, okay? And they went into by the narrow passages of the Euphrates River. That's also important. Remember that. I'm going to link that. For at that time, the Most High performed signs for them and stopped the channels of the river until they had crossed over. That's the part you have to remember for Revelation 16. I'll read it in a second. Through that region, there was a long way to go, a journey, 1.5 years, and that country is called Arzareth, okay? Listen to this. This is very, very important. Then they lived there until the last times. The days that we're living in now. Okay. That is not America for all you retards that are teaching that. That's insane. Verse 46, then they lived there until the last times. And now when they are about to come again, the Most High will stop the channels of the river again so that they may be able to cross over. Therefore, you saw the multitude gather together in peace. This is the last 45 days in Daniel. Okay. This is the miracles for the remnant. Okay. It's not Sakari and GMS and all these retards. Okay. But those who are left of your people who are found within my holy border shall be saved. Therefore, when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he will defend those people that remain. Okay. This is not the elect. Okay. And then he will show them very many wonders. And that's the final 45 days in the book of Daniel. Okay. So now let's get to it. Let's get to Revelation 11 and 16. So that is the last days, and that's the wrath of God. That's everybody with the mark of the beast. And so now, okay, how does that relate to Revelation? This is why the Bible, it all makes sense. But the only way it's going to make sense is if you don't interact with man. You have to interact with the Most High, okay? And so he tells us these things. He tells us secrets, okay, because we're his servants, and we don't care about what man thinks. Revelation 11, 13. And the same hour there was a great earthquake. Listen to this. And the 10th part of the city fell, and in that earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the God of heaven. This is at the end of Revelation 11, okay? Who is this remnant, okay, that were affrighted and giving glory to God? This is at the end of the Great Tribulation period. Listen to this. The second woe was past, and behold, the third woe come quickly. So if people understand the sequence, at the end of this, God's right-hand side is completely removed, okay? And so the only group that are left on this earth that God cares about is this group right here, the remnant, okay? And they gave glory to the God of heaven because they know their miracles are about to come, okay? So this is prior to America being destroyed, okay? And so this also, that remnant is referring to what I just read. And then this, again, this is how it also links to Revelation 16, okay? This is why, again, you have to understand the Bible because it all works together, okay? One of the angels in this case is going to be preparing for what I just read in Second Esdras. This is in verse 12, Revelation 16:12. And the 6th angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. Listen to this. And the water thereof was dried, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Okay. And so this is how Revelation 11 and 16 are tied to what I just read in Second Esdras. Okay. is that one of the things that these two witnesses are going to be doing is preparing for that to happen in 2nd Esdras 13. Okay, listen to this. The great river Euphrates, the water thereof was dried up. Okay, so these group can make that journey back. Okay, and this is not America. Okay, and all these ridiculous Hebrew Israelites who don't have a clue what the hell's going on. Okay, and so no, this group, there's a group on this earth right now, as I'm doing this live stream, that are honoring God's laws. Why? Because God's laws are eternal. Okay, he'll always keep a group of people on this earth who are honoring his laws, and that's in the least that group, those 9 tribes. Okay, it's not these bird brains in the club and Tahar who doesn't even know how to brush his teeth. Okay, that's ridiculous. Okay, and so just know that this group right now that exists right now is described here in 2nd Esdras 13. Though that region, there was a long way to go, a journey of a year and a half in that country. It's called Arzareth. Okay. Just know that then they lived there until the last times. They lived there until the last times. Okay. And now when they are about to come again, the Most High will stop the channels of the river again, like I read in Revelation 16, so that they may be able to cross over. Okay. And so they're going to get ready, for what they're about to receive. And we don't know what that could be, but it's something special because they're keeping the law.
Can I ask, from your understanding, what is the Arzareth? Where is that land that these people are being taken to? Just so
we can't know. It's a region that is a year and a half away from where they were prior. With that under the king, under King Hoshea. The king.
All right. Well, from my understanding on that particular part that we read, I do believe that has already been fulfilled. However, you did bring out some good points, so I will reread that and look at the points you brought up, and then I will conclude on that, because I will admit it's been a while since I looked into that, so I should probably give it another read. But the way that I perceive that is that was talking about how Gad and Reuben got over here to the United States, right? That's how I would understand that. All right, but hey, as I said, I will relook into that, because you could be right. All right, I'll give you that. I will look back into that. But I was
just so you know, just to debunk that, by the way, this group, this 9 tribes, okay, they left the place because they were not able to keep the law. That's why they left. Okay, just so that's what I read in the text. Okay, I'll read it. These are the 9 tribes.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but that's why.
Here's my point. There's no way that they would go to a place where it's against the law, like Babylon or anywhere on earth. So their reason for going that far, think about a year and a half is a long journey. So no one knows any idea where they are. Okay. And so I just want you to know, just for the audience to understand, these are the Israelites. Okay. If this spirit was in another body, they wouldn't just be in a club and being an idiot here. Okay. They do the exact same thing. Okay. And so that proves that it's not in America. Because why would they have this spirit in that time? And then all of a sudden, in the last days, they're in the club dancing around, shucking and jiving. Okay. And so this is proof that they're not in America. They would not settle in a place that do not allow them to honor the law. And so they're in a distant region. Okay. And that's one of the reasons why I suspect these UFO sightings happen all the time, to minister to them. Okay. And so just know that. And so this is why you have to understand this, to understand the 1335 days in the book of Daniel, because this is the final 45 days for them. I've shown it in a verse where the 30 days comes from, because that's the time it's going to take for God to do all this destruction at the end. And I can prove that. And so that's where the 30 days come. 1 second. Let me finish, man. 1260 is the time of Revelation 11. Okay. The 30 days is the wrath that I described, where Christ is going to be returning with his elect and essentially burning the entire earth. And the final 45 days is the miracles for this remnant. Okay. And so that's the understanding of the 1335 days. Go ahead, ETT.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm trying to, cut in here because you were talking for a good 10 minutes. My time is running out, so I was trying to go back and forth with you because there's a lot we have to address in the comment board. But I did have to ask from that, because do you still subscribe to the belief that the Israelites, the main vast majority of the Lord's chosen people, are going to be delivered from America, or do you now not teach that? Just so I know.
No, I mean, I can't know the number, but I would suspect, a good concentration are, for sure. But they're scattered.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right, I'll accept that answer. Now, we do have a lot in the comment board. People have been asking us a lot of questions. So do you want to hit those for a little bit? Because there's a lot down there that we should
let's
address.
do it. I just want to prove one thing just to wrap this up.
Go ahead.
And then we'll get to that. So if you look into that ETT, we can have a conversation offline. It doesn't have to be on a YouTube thing. I'd like your opinion on that, but that's my understanding. So I want to prove the 30 days just so I don't leave people hanging about that. So just for people who are familiar with the book of Daniel, it references a time period of 1,335 days. Okay. And so somebody should wonder what that is. Okay. And so I was told that the 1260 represents the 1260 that's in Revelation 11. And then the 30 days represents the 30 days that I'm about to read in Zechariah. And then the 45 days is the miracles for the remnant. Okay. And so, I can actually, maybe I'll just put the link in the chat. And people who are interested, watch this video and it'll explain it. And so for people who are curious, so go ahead.
Oh, no, I wasn't saying anything. I was just listening to what you were.
Oh, okay. So, I'll just put this link there. Maybe I'll read it just because, it's a good one to have. Because, some of that language in Daniel is confusing because I would say Daniel is a book probably next to Revelation that's the least understood. And then the 501c3 church just literally make up stuff. They're just like, there's going to be an antichrist rising up and all this kind of stuff. And like doesn't make any sense, like at all. And so, it's important to really know the book of Daniel. Okay. When it talks about the temple sacrifice being taken away, that's coded language for the elect. Okay. Go ahead, ETT. I don't know if you're going to say something.
Yeah. I just wanted to ask, so we can sideways onto this topic for a few minutes, man. But did you actually end up watching the rest of that discussion we had with the guy who said he was Christ?
I think I watched a bit more. I didn't quite watch just the beginning, but maybe I watched like the first hour or so. But if you have a highlight, let me know and I'll address it. I watched the first hour and I skipped to the end.
Hey, man, it got funnier as the show went on. At one point, he went and brought out a sword and a broomstick to say, "Oh, we'll see. Well, I am ruling with a sharp sickle over the nations."
Jeez.
Hey, look, man, that guy.
I could sense that you guys felt a little uncomfortable, so to speak. So,
absolutely. Did you see that guy? I mean, that guy got that. Tell me that guy doesn't remind you of Kevin from the movie Split. That guy got like 100 different personalities.
Let me look it up. What is it? Kevin from who?
Look up the movie called Split. Right, you got to watch that. Basically, it's about this guy named Kevin who he has like 20 different personalities. It's a really good movie. Everyone should watch that. But it just reminds you of this guy out there, man. This coon. At one point, I asked him a question, right? Because he's Christ ruling on earth today. I asked him this very simple question. Now he made me repeat myself 7 times. I asked him 7 times this question because every time he just talked about something else. I asked him, okay, if you are Christ, okay. Now my question is this: if you are Christ ruling on earth today, well, why do we see such calamities and devastation and suffering of the people if you're ruling on earth? I had to ask him 7 times because when I ask him, it's like, sideways onto the next topic. You know what I'm saying? And he can't answer it because if he does, he has to admit he's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
But that dude, guy, he's almost like an anti-preterist because what he's getting at is that he believes that he's going to sow the seed and then the kingdoms and all that stuff are going to happen later. So it's almost like all the verses are going to happen in the future with him. So he's like almost the opposite of a preterist. You have the opposite issue because he'll just take a few verses and be like, oh, this is me. I live by a hill and then I'm planting the seed. And then only if you worship me, then all these things are going to happen. That's what he was getting at, right? That's his message.
Yeah. But then what happened is we brought up verses that speak about Christ coming, right? We brought up the one with his chariots and the one where he comes and makes war. And he said, oh, well, that's not literal, right? That's not literal. It's like, okay, well, I mean, how do you know? And then, of course, to be sarcastic, I brought up to him, what do you think about, say, Mark 13, when it speaks about many people should come in those days saying, I am Christ. But it says, believe them not. So I asked him, okay, well, there's a million, hold on. There's a million people around the world today who claim they are Christ in the flesh, right? So it's like, okay, I asked him, well, why should I believe you and not the million other people who say they are Christ? And he said, well, they're all imposters, right? They're all pretendos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then at
Yeah.
one point he said, well, I'm not Christ. I'm the Son of Man. It's like, well, wait a second. Isn't Christ the Son of Man though? And then a minute later he'll say he's Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that I could sense that you guys were trying to hold in laughter. It was like cringe, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know really. What did you take from that, if anything? Like, what do you learn?
Oh, it was just some entertainment. It was just some entertainment. Although I will say it was interesting, hearing him try to answer certain questions in the scriptures. And I asked him a certain question pertaining to the prophecy, and he said that he doesn't know. It's like, well, wait a second. If you're Christ, but how do you not know something that's in your own book?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I guess like I don't know, man. Like that, like even what I just read. I'm not trying to be rude to the people in the chat, but ETT, you understand what I'm saying. I know you don't agree with it, and you're going to look into it a little bit, but you understand my points that I made, right? About all this stuff, the
Yes.
Esdras and all that. So there's like not many people who even understand what we're saying. This is why, again, I want people to know the Bible's not written for very many people. I'm not trying to boast, but it's just not, because no one would even understand what I just went through. I'm pretty sure ETT would, and then the Hebrews would for sure. But, that doesn't mean that we get anything necessarily for just maybe figuring things out. But Concave Earth Christian, I guarantee if you asked him to quote 15 Bible verses off the top of his head, he would be like, nope. It's like you would like any of them, like even the famous ones or whatever. I don't think you would be able to. So I would like to actually see his understanding of the shape of the earth. If you guys ever get screen share figured out, I don't want to go to it freaks me out.
I talked to him, and he agreed to come on another show in the future. So if you want to come on, we can have him on, and you can ask him that yourself, because he'll answer, right? We talked about it a couple minutes. It was hard because we didn't have screen share. But yeah, man, if you're ever looking for entertainment, since he's sitting around, collecting his government check, he really ain't working. So, he's available,
wait, did
anytime.
You guys get to that? What does he do for a living? Did you ask him that?
Oh, I don't know. But I mean, the fact that he's sitting on there doing a stream for 15 hours a day, you know what I'm saying? I would conclude that it's likely he's just sitting around collecting checks, which is not a bad life in my shoes. But anyway, going back to, let's say for an example, going back to our friend, what's that cat? The debate that he had on Good Servants show today, man. Did you see that stuff? Like he brought up, let's say for an example, Revelation, the 20th chapter. He said, well, we're after the millennial reign of Christ. We're in the time where Satan is loose for his little season. Yeah. Right. Christ has lived 1,000 years ago, and we're those who have came after his reign. And then when he's asked, okay, which again, I don't hate the brother, not at all. I want to have a friendly dialogue with him, and I hope he joins us on one of our next shows. That would make a very good discussion. Because I have a lot of questions for him, but it's like he's sitting there making these statements, but then it's like there's no proof. It's the same thing with William Bell. It's like he's sitting there saying it. You ask him, well, where's the proof that Christ returned in that time? Then he says, well, there's no proof, but going by the text, you would have to agree, because it says that they wouldn't die until they saw the kingdom. So see, you have to agree it happened. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that I just think it's dude, it's just so late in the game to be able to talk about preterism, man. Like, I don't know, man. That's this is again why people like me and ETT who understand that God is behind good and evil. It's kind of an all or nothing for us, because the evil is worldwide, so it has to be a big God, or a smart entity above all these kings. And so it's almost like the Bible or nothing at this point. And then it's following through on a lot of other things. So it's like we wouldn't even want to start with preterism, because then it can't explain our current reality. And so the only way we can explain our current reality is all those verses that we quote, that God is behind good and evil. So
right. So
they don't go into that. That's all I'm trying to say, is that's why they won't quote those, because that essentially debunks preterism, because the only verses that can explain our current reality are, a lot of verses that talk about a lead up to the evil and then the evil stopping, So I don't know. Like it's weird. Like it's strange that people would even go down that road in the times that we live in, to me.
Yeah, most definitely, man. As I said, it's like I was shocked to hear some of those stuff. Which, as I said, all respect his viewpoint, and I do want to have a discussion with him because I have a lot of questions. And what will sharpen our sword? It's entertaining for one, and then two, we can have an understanding on why they see this way. That's why
Yeah.
I like to have these discussions, like with the William Bell thing. I've seen that 7 times. Why? Because it's such pure entertainment, and then also was such a good discussion back and forth. Because as I said, they actually can bring up couple scriptures that one would say, oh, okay, well, I suppose that's a good argument. But then when you go deeper into it, it's like, oh, okay, well, we see that at first was talking about reincarnation, right?
Yeah.
Just like when they bring up the ones that say, well, these people were alive then, so see, it has to have happened, right? So as I said, I think it can definitely make a good discussion, once, back and forth discussion on it. I think it'd be very good. But,
But
he can't
ETT,
just sit there and go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, I was just going to ask, like, what, all the videos you've watched and all that, what questions do you have? Not of me, just in general. Like, what do you wish you knew or learned, or do you think, is there a part of the Bible you find difficult to understand at this point, or anything like that?
The way I look at it is, because I'm one of those guys. I've read the Bible twice myself. I've done, I would say I probably watched a good maybe 10,000 videos, something like that, over my years. It's
Yeah.
actually, believe it or not, very soon it's going to be 8 years in this truth, believe it or not, that I've been in this. And actually, I'm going to do a stream on the 30th. It will be exactly 5 years that I've been teaching on this platform. So that's going to
Nice.
be a fun show.
That's
Hey,
cool.
make sure everybody stops by on the 30th, because we're going to have a fun stream on that day. It's going to be a free for all. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
going to give my story on this truth, how I came into this, and we're going to have some fun. But anyway, yeah, I'm definitely learning, right? I'll give an example. I was watching one of Sakari's videos when they were having a debate with Christian, and they brought up the verse that speaks about those who eat swine's flesh will be consumed when the Lord returns. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? That's actually a great verse. Let me incorporate that into when I have a discussion with a Christian about the unlawful foods. So,
Yeah.
hey, look, I'm still learning in this thing, and I mean, hell, even if you disagree with the apostles, they'll tell you, hey, look, we're still learning in this thing, even though Tahar's been in this for 30 years now. Hey,
Yeah.
he'll say, hey, look, we're still learning in this thing, right? We're still learning as we go along in this thing. That's why you have a saying out there that goes, what? That you learn something new every day. And that's true, right? You do learn something new, whether it be in the world or in the scriptures. That statement is true, right? The more you read, the more you study, the more you will learn, right? And I'll tell you, I've read the New Testament, I want to say about 7 times now, 6 or 7 times. And every time you go back and read it, you definitely see something that you might have missed the last times that you read.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. So as I said, even though I've done all those things many times, it never hurts to go back and redo it again, because that's how you continue to learn, right? Because sometimes you might forget something, but if you go back over it, you can then bring it back to memory. I'll throw it back to you.
Dude, we gotta do a hangout, man, sometime, and you got to be unbiased. I want to play our friend D Coon's breakdown of Revelation 11. That guy was doing the Hebrew hopscotch and shucking and jiving all over the place, and so I watched those and I cringe. But that's what I was doing last night. I watched the one you sent me, and then another one. But that's what I'm looking at, I would say, lately. One verse, I would say, the one that's the hardest for me to explain in the entire Bible is a group that are beheaded for their faith. I've always had struggle with that. ETT dropped off. I'll put the link in the chat whenever he gets back. I did not do that. But while he gets back, I'll read a verse that Jack put in the chat. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not on thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledging him, and he shall direct thy paths. And so that's great. That's absolutely true. And that's what we should do all the time, for sure. That's correct. So while ETT is doing that, I'm going to read, for people to understand, okay, there's a 1,335 days in the book of Daniel, and 1260 comes from Revelation 11. Okay, just what people read Revelation 11. That's literal. Okay. And here's where the 30 days comes from. Zechariah 11:8. 3 shepherds also I cut off in 1 month. Okay. and my soul loathed them, and their soul also abhorred me. Okay. And so that's the 30 days of wrath that I read in Second Esdras and really everywhere in the Bible with his elect.
Hey,
so, yeah. One second. 1 second, dude.
Go ahead.
Quick thing. And so that's the 30 days, and then the 45 days is the miracles for the remnant. We got ETT back. What's up, man?
Yeah. You cut off. I couldn't hear anything you said when you said that you seen something D-Kun did. What did you see that the D-Kun did?
Oh no, yeah, he broke down Revelation 11 on the street. That's his when I searched for it, and I mean it just was crazy. I don't know what to say. Like his breakdown was insane. But if we could go over it if you want sometime, or maybe I'll send you the link and you can check it out. But it was outlandish, how bad it was. But that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, man. I'll check it out if I get the chance to, man. But let's just hit the comments real quick because I know we've got a lot of questions that've been coming in. If you want to pull those up, that'd be.
Oh man, I didn't realize there was this many. I'll go back. Shout out Shavite Jagnarth, man. Good to see you, buddy. But I'm not sure if I said hello. He pops by. I'll just go back to the start, man. Let's just start. So Kirk, what's up, man? Tim, good to see you. Hopefully I didn't offend you, but that beast question, I think we're kind of past that, here. Okay. We have lots of videos and proven it over and over. And most importantly, the beast system, you don't need to think about it because it's obvious. It's like because of the flat earth that the entire world is run by. I have people literally still to this day come by my channel and say, "Oh no, we don't have a one world order yet." I was like, what? Excuse me? Like, you don't think we have a one world order yet? Are you joking? That's ridiculous. Okay, we've had a one world order from the jump. Okay, the only thing that's different now is it's obvious. Thanks again, a Flat Earth Boxer, for joining, man. Fresh and new. Good to see you, man. He exists. Good to see you. These are some new faces I'm not familiar with. Taking Back Eden, Effie, good to see you. Ronnie, welcome. Yeah, ATT, what do you say to people, man, who don't think that we have a one world order yet?
Well, anybody saying that must be lost in the sauce, man. And as I said, don't get me wrong. I know certain people who are so-called pastors and not. And, and they teach that, well, we're not in those times. People have been saying that for hundreds of years. We're not in those times today. Don't worry about that. And I know certain people like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you just got to learn that this isn't for, many people. This isn't for many, so we just got to consider ourselves lucky. Hey, look, the tide tips in our favor inside joke.
And when we say that, that doesn't mean that it's not for you, whoever's listening. Okay. Few doesn't mean not you. Okay. It just means us. Okay. Like a few of us. Okay. So just to clarify that we never mean that doesn't mean you. Okay. But the things that I teach, I would say the few things, the obvious ones, if you don't accept those, then I don't know what's going to happen to you. Okay. And because it's obvious that God is behind good and evil. It's obvious that this is hell. It's obvious that America's Mystery Babylon. So ITR, man, I don't know what's going to happen to you boys, man. I'm sorry, but Mystery Babylon is not the freaking Vatican. Okay. That's ridiculous. I'm sorry. Like, I wouldn't read the Bible. If somebody told me, if God literally came to me in a dream, I don't know if I told you my brother had a UFO dream, but if God came to me in a dream, dude, and said Mystery Babylon is indeed the Vatican, I'll shut my whole channel down. Dude, I'll go back into the world. I don't care. Because, like, what's the point then? Okay, so God's going to destroy a small little 5 by 5 mile landmass at some point. And what? Okay, what difference will that make? So
actually, the Vatican is actually 2 square miles. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, man. You think when God does destruction, what does he do? He goes into a little 2 by 2 mile place. Really? That's what God would do? Are you kidding me? That's absolutely ridiculous.
And they bring up.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I said that one point that they bring up is, well, it says it's a city. America is in the city. Well, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at this point we know the tricks that the people use. Like Concave is a bit of an extreme example because he's not even really using any tricks because he's not even using the Bible. But those that's why some of the Hebrew is like, they know a bit about the Bible, so they can kind of trick us. Like I would say ETT and I know that America's Mystery Babylon, but that's to me like word games, and then you have to understand the Bible is part of the deception. Okay. I think somebody wrote something in the comment earlier about the translations. So the Bible itself is part of the deception because it has to be used by people who are, deceivers. The deceived and the deceiver are his. And a lot of the people would be knowledgeable about the Bible, like tried and refined. And so God would have to put language in there. Oh, a purple, scarlet. We talked about this, a purple. Oh, and then they'll go on Google. This is what I've literally seen Inop do from Good Samaritans. He'll Google like royalty and look at they're wearing a purple vest. Okay, so then that's it. Oh, it's the Catholic Church and all that. That's what they'll do. That's how stupid they are. I'm not even kidding. And I used to support Inop. Like I thought he was genuine, and I learned a lot, from them at the beginning. But now, I wouldn't even look in their direction. I'll be like, you guys are stupid, man. Like that's the part that I understand Tahar's problems is like, if you're going to leave GMS, don't leave all the obvious doctrines, though. Don't start remixing everything, because then you're going to sound stupid. But,
our friend, let's see, what's that guy? Faithful Servants of Christ, which I want to bring him on the show, but he teaches at the Vatican's Babylon. Oh, and it's funny because our friend, when I was doing a show with Concave Earth Christians, man, he left. I was gonna let him say his last words, but he left. But I was gonna tell him, hey, look, in the words of the deacon, right before he left, I was gonna tell him, have a good night.
Oh man, there's so many zingers, man. What else does Deacon say that I find funny? He says all praises, all praises, all praises,
yeah.
all praises. It's like, really, dude? Who are you praising, man? Get out of here.
Hey, Sakari's doing that Hebrew hopscotch, man. That's what those guys are doing.
Yeah, dude, you're on another level than them, man. I don't think you don't need to go and like tell him he's a Levitical priest and suck up to him and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, like I don't know. Like, I don't think that he's on a level or whatever. I think they speak well, without a doubt. Like, they have the ability to convey things and people believe them. But the problem with the times that we live in now is that you either take a position on the thing or not, and then I think they're going to start losing people if they stay with that. Because at least Tahar said, consider it as it. Okay. We all know what I'm talking about. But if Deacon starts going really heavy and not leaving it open that it is, I think he's actually going to lose a lot of people, because people have to make real life decisions right now, man. Like, it's not a joke. Like, we see what's going on, all these mandates. It's not going away. I think we all know that now. So who knows where Sakari will be a year from now or whatever, man. It's going to be crazy, dude. It's wild.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, here, let me just check real quick. All right. Yeah. Hey, I am going to get going here because it is starting to rain on me here.
Okay.
But yeah, man, I appreciate the show. If you're available maybe tomorrow or the next day, do you want to do another show?
Yeah, just shoot me a message on Hangouts. And then if I'm not golfing or whatever, and you just tell me the topic and I can, even if it's just to catch up, whatever, I'm cool with that. I think I have a lot of hours, so just let me know.
Okay, that's cool. Cause you don't pay to use their service, right? You use the free one.
I don't, but if I need to, I can, like I've been saving up and selling a lot of, dude, I sell like 20, 30 moon pies, 100 zingers yesterday. So I'm fine, dude, if I need to, but I use the free service, but I don't stream as much as you do, though, as you know.
All right. Yeah. Well, anyway, I appreciate, coming on here with everybody. As I said, everybody can go, check out my page, right? End Time Teacher. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do, because you do shows on my page. And yeah, of course, I'm going to end off by giving all praise to Yahweh and his son, Yahweh Shai. But I'm going to, leave the stream by saying this. Hey, in the words of the D-Coon, have a good night.
All right, man. Take care. So, that's End Times Teacher. He's in the chat, so you can right click on his page and that kind of thing. It was good conversation. The main thing that I wanted to really discuss with him was, I don't think we've ever formally talked about my understanding on Revelation 11 and 16, which is unique. And there are things that he brought up that I think are very, very good points. I'll put ETT's link in the chat. just so people have it. In the very least, you're going to laugh when you go to his channel. So, it will be entertaining. And so go there. And so I pop over there once in a while. I'm kind of keeping a low profile for a little while, just kind of, I don't know. I just don't really have that much to talk about, but that's his link in the chat. Give him a sub. But yeah, so that's pretty much my stance on second Esdras. And so the main thing for people to understand is that the sequence is everywhere, and then you can validate it across books. Okay, and so all those things will not get kicked off until Christ returns, for his elect. And so I make a very, very bold claim on my channel that I could be one of them. Okay. And so that's not anything that I say lightly. And I would not have made this statement prior to January 1st, 2020 at all, because I would not have been able to understand how all these books work together. And I could not have figured that out on my own. I just could not. And so for people to understand, when I say that God told me something, just to understand what I mean by what I mean when I say that, it's not like I have a vision or anything, or I have a dream or anything. I've never had that in my life. But what will happen when I tell people God told me something, I'll literally be sitting on this couch, okay, 99% of the time in my apartment. And then I'll be told to go and open up the Bible and then go to a specific place. Okay. And then some concept will be told to me, and then it will start a bit of a flood, and then it'll open up a floodgate, so to speak. And so during that time on January 1st, 2020, literally in that day in the morning, I was starting to be told about the way that the order is going to work. Okay. And then I was told, first thing that I was told, not in an audible voice, but that Revelation 11 and 16 are sister chapters. Okay. That those two men are going to be implementing those plagues. They're going to be the quote overseers. That's their ministry. Okay. Is to make sure that what happens in Revelation 16 happens, and more plagues if they want. First thing, that's what I was told. And then I was like, oh, okay. Okay. And then I was told during that time that in that time period, the gospel is going to be preached. Okay. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I was go to Revelation 14 to find that. And then I was like, okay, so the elect are always taken away. Okay. Because that's what happens in Revelation 14. The elect are taken away. Okay. So the elect have to be taken away prior to what I was told about 11 and 16. And then the gospel being preached. If you read Revelation 14, the elect are described first. Okay. And so that's what I mean when I say God told me something. Okay. It's not like, I had an angel visit, or like, he sent me an email or texted me or anything like that. Okay. And then in other situations, I noticed, because again, I have a lot of free time, but God will tell me to look up something. Okay. And then I'll look up the word Dexios, for example. Okay. And then these things don't happen until we're ready, to receive those. And then I was told to go look up that word. Okay. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. Because I was seeing the narrative that was going on in the world. And then he's like, go look up hand in the other two chapters, Revelation 20 and Revelation 14. And then it said agency. Okay. And then, so that's when I say that I'm being told by God that is what it is. That's what he's doing. Okay. And then he's like, look up the code for BNT. Okay. 16.2b2. And then I just looked at it and I knew what he was trying to tell me. Okay. So that's what I mean. Okay. For people to understand. Okay. It's not some kind of like spirit or anything like that. Okay. But they're clues. Okay. And then they all happened on that one day, a majority of them. And so once I got that sequence, you could tell I was excited. I was anxious to post the videos right away. Okay. That day, maybe the next day, everything just started unraveling. Okay. And then now I knew that sequence. Okay. Every chapter in Revelation, I understood that either happened in the past, it's happening now, or it's in the future. And so once I put all those things in order, then I was told to go try and find that everywhere. Okay. And so that's what I did. Okay. And then it was like a game almost, and it was fun. And then that's what happened. Okay. And then that's, I'll put the link below to my backup channel. And so that's what I've been doing ever since. And so, but everything started from January 1st, 2020. Okay. So when I say that I was quote unquote sealed, that's what I was told. Okay. I was not storing up that information until that day. I didn't have a clue. Okay. How to piece it together until I was told that 11 and 16 are together. And then it begins with Acts 1:10 to 11. Okay. And so this is not to be arrogant, but the Bible won't make sense unless you understand that. Okay. And then the Bible won't make sense unless you understand Acts 1:10 to 11, because first you have to understand that Christ was on this earth and he died a physical death. Okay. A real death. And that's one of the foundational elements of being a quote unquote Christian. And so you need to know that, because that's what it's referring to. And then you have to understand that he ascended. Okay. And then those men in that time are being told that he's going to return. Okay. And so anybody who doesn't understand Acts 1:10 to 11 is first and foremost literal, and then going to play out again like they're told, the Bible won't make sense to you. Okay. And so I don't say this to be arrogant, but it's a fact at this point. Okay. And it's not a shot to End Times Teacher, because I enjoy, our conversations, but he wasn't told that. Okay. And so, and if you can I could sit all day and read the Bible until I'm blue in the face. But if God does not tell you that those two men in Acts 1:10 to 11 are the two witnesses, the Bible won't make sense, because you could read the Revelation 11 100 times over and you won't understand that they're going to be brought here. Okay. And so that then the sequence will make sense. Okay. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. So it's only when Christ appears will they be brought here, and then the elect will be taken away, which fulfills two prophecies at the same time, because the elect are taken away prior to wrath. So they're up, and then down comes two witnesses, and that's when the wrath begins in that moment, in that day. And so if you don't have that key to unlock the Bible, I'm not saying this to be rude, but you're reading a book that you don't understand. Okay. And so that's a group that I believe if that's true, and that happens, obviously, then I'm one of them, and then it's likely that I was one of them who was standing there when Christ was taken away. Okay. And then, that's why we miss him. Okay. And so it's not that you guys don't care about God or anything like that, but there's a certain group of us that we follow God wherever he goes. Okay. And so we have certain secrets. Okay. He whispered them to us. Okay. And then they're in our spirit now. And then when we read the Bible, which is our way of identifying with Christ in the times that we live in now, it just pours out. Okay. And so that's the bold claim that I make on my channel. And that's exactly how I experienced it, just for clarity, And so, because a lot of people say they have quote unquote experiences with God, and God told me this and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, well, it's like, well, if people say that, then, the reason I'm stubborn really about my position is that I need to then decide, should I teach what I teach, or do I teach what you teach? Okay. And so that's why I'm like that. Okay. So when people come by here and say things, I'm not trying to put you down. I'm trying to decide whether I should teach what you teach or what I teach. Okay. And then, was I deceived, or was that from the Most High? And so I just want people to know every day that goes by, it's becoming very, very clear that that was indeed from the highest. Okay. And so that's why I can understand 2nd Esdras and Revelation 11 and Revelation 16 and Acts 1:10 and everything. The whole Bible is that looping over and over again. Okay. If you take my sequence, if you subscribe to my backup channel, I just put the link there. I even found it in a rap song. Okay. And then now that this is why you need this understanding that God is behind the good and the evil. Okay. God has made every single song that's ever been made. It was his idea first. He saw this whole thing play out. Okay. And then God made every movie that was ever made, because this is his movie. So of course, in the movie, he's made all those too, because those movies reflect his broader movie. Okay. And so those were all God's ideas. Okay. And so RZA, who I'm quoting in that rap song, in Impossible, God made that, because then he's prophesying through him. Okay. And then he's obviously prophesying through the Bible. And like Creation Bear saying, he's prophesying through the Apocrypha as well, because I've just proven, I mean, you don't need that, but like the Apocrypha is consistent with the entire Bible. Okay. Everywhere. So God's behind all this. Okay. And we know that now. And so I'm not changing my position on that, because it's obvious. And so if you people have issues with that, then it's better to find another channel, or wait here until this year's over, and then I'm not going to, be teaching anymore, see how it plays out, kind of thing. But I'm not changing my position on those things, because I believe that what happened to me was sacred and true, because it's it's evident in what I'm teaching. Okay. And so unless you have some experience that usurps that, okay, then present it, and then I'll teach what you teach. Okay. Because I don't want to teach what's wrong because of Revelation 22, and everywhere in the Bible, God's not forgiving with people like that. That's why I'm warning ETT and others in a friendly way. Don't go and just blare out stupid ideas. Okay. And I've done it. Okay. And then at that time I was ignorant. And so God was hopefully forgiving of that. But the truths now are so obvious that he's not going to be very forgiving if you make up things that are just inconsistent with the Bible and the people of the Bible, okay, which are a very, very stubborn people, okay? They don't have any tolerance. The patience and the faith of the saints doesn't mean that they just sit around and just goof around all day. No, they're impatient of evil, okay? They're patient with righteous people and humble people, but with evil, they're impatient, okay? And so if you're like that, that's good. Okay. That means that God's working with you, and that's outstanding. And then even if we're not an Israelite, we align with them because that's the way they are. That's what I just read earlier in 2nd Esdras. They'll walk a 1.5 year journey to get the hell away from a place as far away as possible. Okay. In modern day, that would be a person who's going to the other end of the world. Okay. If you had an airplane and all that. And so they're making their journey by foot. Okay. And so that's how much they hate sin. Okay. And so it's not these people on YouTube. Okay. And don't even use me as an example. Use what's written as the example. And there's many, many of them. Okay. And so don't be seduced by these people who are making up just nonsense. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the mark of the beast is. It could be this, could be that, and all that kind of stuff. This is why I know that Christ has to return on the order of days, because they're atheists crying out for salvation and they don't even know what salvation is. Okay. And so just know that. Okay. That's what's going on. Okay. And I don't care if you people want to stay here longer than me, because I don't care. Okay. You're only going to like what I say if you want to be taken away now, like literally right now. Okay. If you would like, man, I'll wait till the morning or the next day or the next week, my channel will be offensive to you, and then you're offensive to me. So I would highly recommend you go away, or just listen, but don't comment, because I'm just going to make fun of you and I'm going to think you're stupid. And the next thing that you say that's stupid, I'm going to point it out. Okay. So it's better just to be silent around my channel, and it has a time limit. Okay. So this annoying voice, if you find it annoying, you're not going to have to listen to it for much longer, because I do not want to be here. Okay. Because all you people are stupid. Okay. We read the Bible to a lot of you, and you get angry. Okay. And all that kind of stuff. That's not a good place to be, needless to say. Okay. But for the few and the faithful, I think we know what's going on. Okay. The Bible is indeed the word of God, and all eyes will see him. Okay. Even those who pierced him. Okay. That's Christ, in the sky, in these so-called UFOs that look like a big rock in the sky. Okay. And that's the rock of the salvation. Okay. And so just know that's what we're on the precipice of. And it's not for very many people. And it's not for the people that you think. Okay. At all. Okay. And even if I'm not taken away, that's totally fine, because I know that the people that are taken away are going to be extremely high quality people. Like it says in 2nd Esdras. I'll get this verse. The nice thing is that we're going to know that God's going to pick high quality people, okay, to be taken away. And so, that's our government. Okay. It's not going to be Biden anymore and Trump and all these bird brains. 2nd Ezra 16:73, then the tested quality of my elect shall be manifest as gold that is tested by fire. Okay. And so that's the government. Okay. And they're going to run that government according to the laws of laws of God. Okay. And this world, they will not allow the world to get into a place like this. Okay. Because they're tired of the lies, and they're tired of like stupid people. Okay. Who just make up dumb ideas, and they don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. Okay. And so that's the future government. Okay. And God's been laboring from the beginning to make them that way. Okay. The souls of the just complain continually. Okay. They complain 24/7. Okay. And so just know that I would complain even if things were good. I'm like, what are we doing here? Okay. Why are we here? What's the purpose of all this? Much less now with an evil world. Okay. So all you stupid YouTube people who are just a bunch of idiots, who are just goofing around. Okay. You might want to figure out what team you're on really quick. Okay. And we're laughing at all you bird brains now who don't get to sit around and talk in circles anymore. Okay. Because you morons have to start deciding whether you're with the Bible or you're not. Okay. And there's only two teams. Okay. And so we like the fact that you morons have to start squirming now. Okay. Because you've had your fun sitting in hangouts for 3 or 4 or 5 hours, making up every stupid idea about Christ that you could ever imagine. Christ is white. He's already returned. He'll return in 1,000 years, 100 years, 10 years, and all that kind of stuff. You morons are going to have to pick your team. Okay. Pick your team quick kind of thing. And we love it. I love to see you stupid people squirm who've had your time to just talk about nothing. Okay. All day, every day. Okay. And so there's only 2 options at this point, and I couldn't be happier about it. Okay. And that's where we're at, in the world. And the decision for me could not be any easier. I don't want to be here. And I did not want to be here prior to this narrative. Jason Wallace is like, flat earth is what led me to your channel. I once convinced a friend of mine in less than 2 days that the earth was flat. I told him Bible was a flat earth book. Yeah. I mean, the earth doesn't move. So by corollary, it has to be flat. Okay. And so that's the most important thing. The Bible doesn't explicitly say, at least in the translation we have, flat earth, so to speak. But, it's, it doesn't move. Okay. And then, then it's flat. Okay. And we can trust it. I would rather die than take this. Yes, agreed. I'm the same. It's stupid. It's like we're being forced to do things to stay in a place that's stupid. So, I mean, it's like it's not even a decision for me. Okay, I would do this even if I was told to stay in a place that was boring. Okay, much less boring and stupid. Okay, so that's why a group of people, and I'm asking to be in that group, are exempt from what's called the hour of temptation. Okay, in Revelation 3, because it's not tempting for us. Okay, you could give me $1 trillion and I still don't want to be here, because you can't use that money to do anything, because you're not even allowed to go anywhere. Okay, and then we know that money doesn't mean anything, and then this is essentially Satan's playground. So you're giving essentially $1 trillion tokens to just sit in a playground. Okay, filled with other demons. Okay, and the demons are in the truth community. Okay, those are the worst ones. And so why would you want to be here? This doesn't make sense. So I credit you for that, Jason. That's good. It couldn't be more obvious. I don't even know how a person could even consider taking it, much less like all the things that we know about it now. There's no point in trying to reach that old woman. The channel is a waste. You're not teaching anyone anything. I finally reached the absolute bottom of rabbit hole. It's disappointing. Yeah, like this stuff is like I read in Revelation 14:6, the gospel is going to be preached by angels. Okay, that's an important aspect of what I was told, because I've always had this mindset or this question, whether I knew it or not, that I was always wondering, how's the gospel going to be preached? Okay, because it's a big earth. Okay, and then that's what the Bible says. And then we're like, how is that possible? Okay, because it would take a long time for that to happen, and then that question was answered for me in Revelation 14:6. It's in these so-called UFOs. Okay. And it's in the sky, and it's the everlasting gospel. Okay. And those spirits communicate to people, and they know, okay, that's God. Okay. That's not a fallen angel or anything like that. And so it's not even like they're going to be blaring on a loudspeaker, hey, let's read the book of John today kind of thing. It's going to be a spiritual connection. Okay. Supernatural, because that's our creator, who's sending his son back to gather his right-hand side. Okay. And so I'm not saying don't go and witness to people and talk to people and all that, but don't think that your performance matters. Okay. Because God puts the words in our mouth if we're genuine. And so don't worry about that. And if you're going to a place that's unsafe, don't do it. Okay. Because it doesn't matter. Okay. Because everything in the last days God is doing, God's left-hand side tried to convince us that we're involved in it. Okay. But God's elect are taken away by the angels. Okay. God's left-hand side are identified with the swords in Revelation 16:2. And the gospel is going to be preached according to Revelation 14:6 by angels. All these things involve angels. Okay. and that's in the sky in a supernatural way. And so, that's why I know that a lot of people are actors. Okay. My channel is for the handful of people who are not actors. And then we offend the actors because they want to come here and get us to keep acting. Okay. But we just tell them you're stupid. Okay. And then they get mad at us because we don't want to act anymore. We've acted our whole life. And then they want us to go and try and preach the gospel or do this and do that and do that. And we're like, shut up. Okay. That's all I tell people. Shut up, dude. Go away. You're stupid. Okay. I'm not acting. I'm not going to fight any cause or fight and beat evil, like Call for an Uprising tries to get people to do because he's an idiot, like most people. What are you going to fight against? Okay. Like, what are you resisting? God is doing this. God is the one who is behind Nebuchadnezzar and tried to get people to bow to a statue, and with the Maccabees, try to get them to eat pork and all that. God is doing that. Okay. Because he wants to see what people will fall for. Okay. A few people that come by here have a functioning brain. Okay. Because God provided that common sense. We're like, hell no. Okay. Like, this place is stupid. I don't even want to be here if righteous things were going on because it's boring. Okay. And it's just dumb. And why? Like, why would you want to be here and labor over building a home or living in a home or something when if you're in America, it's going to get burned. The entire earth is going to get burned. And then even if that wasn't the case, why would you want to labor for all that stuff when you could just ask God, make me a house? If it's in his will, he could just make a house appear in front of you, and then you could live in it or whatever. Like, it's not funny, but like, why would you labor for all this stuff? Okay. God can make anything that you just say it and it'll appear and that kind of thing. So, what's the point? Okay. And this language is offensive to people. And I'm glad you morons are offended. If you are offended because you're all stupid, okay, you're an idiot. You don't believe in God. Okay. And so you're out of your mind if you're making long-term plans here. Okay. And so this channel is only going to make sense to people who want Christ to return today. Okay. Ideally now. Okay. And for the rest of you people, the hell with you. Okay. Literally the hell with you. And then this earth is hell. Okay. And if the Bible's true, you're going to find that out. Okay. And I won't care. Okay. Cause like, well, how hard is it for you to believe in the Bible? Okay. You don't have to do anything. You just have to believe, okay, what it says and trust it. It's not like I'm asking people to go and do things or anything like that. And so if all you people are hop, skipping and jumping and dancing around that, people like Good Servant and all those other people, we know what your job is. Okay. You're just an actor. Okay. And that kind of thing. And so keep acting. Okay. And so I'm not. And God's people are not actors. Okay. They're very, very serious people. Okay. And like they care about righteousness. Okay. And freedom, and which comes with the law. Okay. Because there's order. And then where the law, obedience to it, there's life. Okay. And so just know that here's a good verse in First Maccabees. I was just reading this earlier. Okay. So First Maccabees 1:62, and many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat unclean things. Okay. And they chose to die that they might not be defiled with the meats and that they might not profane the holy covenant, and they died. Okay. And there came exceedingly great wrath upon Israel. And so there are always a few people, not all Israelites are actually Israelites and behave like Israelites, but God will always have a few people who are faithful, and they'll take death over disobeying God's laws happily. Okay. No worries. Okay. Because we don't want to be here and that kind of thing, taking orders from a bunch of stupid people. And God's laws are actually not that cumbersome. Okay. They're actually fairly simple, but this earth does not want us to obey any of them, including a majority of people on YouTube. So we say to hell with them. Okay. Bye. Have a good one. Okay. And that kind of thing. So any of you people who are waiting for Christ to return next year, the year after that, you people are sick. Okay. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.